now.
Yeah.
And how, like, obviously most of us, if not all of us, I'm sorry, Tyke, I don't know exactly what you went to school for, but like we have a background in video game design.
I'm a black guy.
That's what he went to school
Animation. Animation. I thought it was animation, but I didn't want to say animation. Like, I don't know if it's for video games.
Yeah, so here, I'll go first and I'll go that way. Hi, it's Tyke, a.k.a. Big Daddy Kane, a.k.a. something else inappropriate.
Okay.
But yeah, moving on to the next one.
Hi, everybody. My name is Abby.
Hello, I'm Shawn.
Hi, I'm Cole.
Yeah.
And I'm present.
Cole's present.
Present.
And I'm Dan, and this is welcome to another Muddled Dice, everyone. We've got a full house this week. We've got 5 people here.
Going for a
So
record.
it's gonna be fun. See how well it goes.
It's fun to
Chaotic
fuck
it
it up.
gets. Yeah, those aren't mutually exclusive.
True. Yep.
We'll just jump right into it. Sean's getting another drink.
Good job, Shawn.
He's got his priorities in check.
He said, don't knock on me.
Yeah, you kissed the microphone, didn't pick that up. Yeah.
I can do what I want.
I do what I want.
I mean, only 3, if you don't mind, sweetie. Well,
Oh.
it's gonna be crunching and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
fine. Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No,
Thank you.
No, sweetie. See?
Oh, you messed up. Mm-mm.
I will,
Try again tomorrow.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
crunch. I care way more about crunching than
Do
I
it.
do about
Do it.
audio.
My
Get all up in that microphone.
My
Don't
favorite-
hold back.
Yeah, don't hold back.
as a guy like uses the microphone and falls over. They give him shit for it.
This just
Yeah.
doubles as an ASMR like
Right.
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
that's
still
so
don't, I still
good.
don't understand those. They're just terrible.
It bothers me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just like, please
You're weird.
stop immediately.
Yeah.
They're just whispering. I'm not getting the ASMR part.
I saw one guy, like they did like
A guy did it?
No, a guy
Because it
reacted.
matters if a girl does it versus a guy does
Well,
it.
Every time I hear it, it's a
voice
girl.
Do I thought? No.
No.
Oh,
no.
none did. So guys do that. I'm sorry.
But
People really like the ones
a
where
guy
they're
was
eating.
listening to it, and he was like, they were getting his. It was the I want to say the Venture Brothers. That's not it.
I
Or
love
like
Venture
the,
Brothers though.
the Green Brothers.
Green.
Yeah, they did like Crash Course and all that.
Oh,
One of them
I know
was
what you're
like
talking
doing a
about.
reaction
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it,
yeah. Okay.
and they're like, what'd you think about it? He's like, yeah. He's like, it was very pleasurable.
What?
So much so that I kind of felt weird having other people in the room.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. The reason
Okay.
he started using the word pleasurable, and I was already like,
Yeah.
I don't like it. No.
Well, that's like.
You say you like it. You don't say it was
No.
pleasurable.
No. Well, that's like there are those people on Twitch that like they sit there and they'll just like eat on screen and like thousands of people will watch them. And I'm
Yeah,
just like,
isn't
I
it-
don't.
isn't it like
I'm
it's
not
a
into
Japanese
that.
thing
Like,
or
I'm not
something,
feeling
or-
it.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
like it's
Something like that?
primarily like a Japanese.
Yeah, they
thing,
get
but-
girls that just eat, and dudes are like, I gotta watch this girl eat, and she just
Yeah.
eats a meal.
Yes.
Like it's nothing magic.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a ton of them that are like they eat the most audible food in the world.
Hello.
They'll like crunch and
Just like
like
a-
super
All
liquidy
up in
food
it.
too. I don't know why
Alright.
people
I-
like it.
See.
I'm not
Can't stand
lying. The like market for girls just doing everyday things on Twitch is so big. Like I'm thinking of cashing in. Like
I don't know why
I
you
can
haven't.
just sit there
I
and
would
like
have
eat
already.
lunch. Like
Are you? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right then.
Yeah.
One of the like most popular ones is this like child, this girl who does whatever, like making a bunch of sounds or just talks really softly or eats food on YouTube. YouTube allows this, and her parents get like multi-million-dollar
Big
checks
yeah.
That's
Well, that's
from
true.
their daughter
I'd be
doing
okay with it.
Really
ASMR.
weird.
$1 million checks? Yeah.
Well, it's still like the other joints, like the what is it, Chris Toy Review or
The
whatever.
toy
The one that always
opener.
does- Yeah.
Kid, yeah, I don't know.
The kid makes over $11 million.
Oh, the 7-year-old, or
Yeah.
is he 8
Yeah.
now? I don't know.
My kids need to get on it.
Yeah,
Like, yo, I got a camera.
Yeah,
They
do it,
somewhat
man.
adorable.
Do it.
Shit, go ahead and do it.
they like opening toys. Yeah,
They do. I just can't afford all the damn toys.
Mm.
yeah.
It's just a little bit. But like, True.
Do they have to be new toys?
I have no idea in the review.
Can you just
But
go
I will
around to
say-
garage sales
I-
and shit?
Yeah, could be. The one I will
Just
say
wrap
that
them in newspaper.
the one Ryan toy or whatever, like that they have
He's
at
the
like
one,
Target. No
Wait, wait,
lies,
wait,
it's a
they
huge
have it at
Easter
Target?
egg. That he has his own toy line now,
Oh my
What?
God.
and it's like
Oh,
$40.
yeah.
And how do I
Oh my
know?
God.
What is it?
Because I had to buy one. It's 40. And
What
it's
is
just like
it?
an assortment of other toys in this stupid huge egg.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. 40
He
something.
boxes other items and then sells it to you at a markup.
Yes,
Awesome.
dude. He's banking.
So the other part of that is though that like a lot of companies, if you're like have over X amount of subscribers, they'll just send you that shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
over. It's not over
Yeah.
a lot because like my dad, he wanted to launch his own like hunting. He's like super into bow hunting. His own like hunting YouTube and like podcasts and shit. And like these people do videos about it, and they have like 4,000 followers max, and they just send emails and they send them shit. So like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
How, do you get money? Like seriously, like serious question. Do you get money from the advertisement? Like how do you get? Like you have to get per 1,000 views. You get like what? $20 or something? Like,
No,
so it
it's
seems,
like-
what's the metrics
it
on
No,
seems
that?
like
like
the
per
new,
view, it's like a penny or some shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
and
don't,
for
yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, and for actual items, it seems like the way that most people make money now is you have a like creator code, and when you have a link specific to you, and if someone purchases the item through that link or like puts in your creator code, then they get a kickback from the
EA has that program now, don't they?
Mhm.
Like if you're like if you do like Let's Plays or video game reviews or
Yeah.
whatever,
Okay.
and like you said, you have this like creator code, and then you give it out to your followers, and when people buy games from the EA store, they say like, oh, I learned about it from this creator, and you get like, I don't know, probably like 1% of the sale or something small, but like
Oh.
it's probably still better than what you get through YouTube advertising, because from what
Mhm.
I've heard, that's like shit.
well, and
Yeah,
they've
it's like a
been
nightmare.
Yeah.
Demonetizing everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to have like over X amount of subscribers now to actually get like monetization.
And they keep raising the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See.
They keep raising the bar for popularity and for like cleanliness of content.
yeah.
I think a lot of YouTubers I've read are having trouble monetizing videos of M-rated games like GTA or survival
Yeah.
horror games. There's too much swearing and blood, so like we can't put
Really?
advertisers on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but-
why they're all going
So,
to Patreon.
But we also kept up a video of this guy going to the suicide forest and like
Oh,
filming
yeah.
a
I
dead
know.
body.
What was
like,
his name?
Um,
Jake some shit?
Yeah.
Jake some shit. Yeah.
Jake
Yeah,
some shit.
that's-
I don't know.
that's his
Because there's
name.
two
That's
people
his
I get
name now.
confused.
Yeah.
There's like, I don't know, Jake Ryan. I don't know his name. It doesn't matter. Jack Ryan. I don't know.
John Krasinski.
He's a blonde douchebag. If you ever
Yeah.
see him,
I
Yeah.
got you.
yeah.
Down with you. Done deal. I did not know that because I remember hearing like a lot of cats going from YouTube to Twitch or Patreon,
Yeah.
and I was wondering
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So,
Because
okay.
it's just like they're like suffocating their original market. Whereas Twitch is like, in my opinion, because I watch a lot of Twitch, like they're really good to their content creators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although Facebook is trying to steal, like they're trying to get in on the whole live streaming market.
Facebook live streaming is weird.
It's really weird, and they can't stream over like 4 hours. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants to go more than that, they literally have to shut off their stream and like start it back up again to like continue.
I can
Well,
imagine
the
that.
The thing I found interesting is like whenever I get ads for streamers on Facebook, it's never an English language streamer.
No.
And I don't know why Facebook seems to attract foreign language streamers more than English streamers.
Yeah.
But like Twitch has no issue with that, or even YouTube gaming.
Hmm.
But for some reason, Facebook is always people streaming from like the Philippines or
Yeah.
China or something. I don't know if it's because they have more servers over there.
Yeah.
Or,
I know like two league streamers that I watch sometimes that are on Facebook, but they literally have a contract with Facebook. Like they are not allowed to
Oh.
stream like on any other platform other than Facebook. So I don't know if that gave them like if they like got a sign-on bonus for that
I
or
would hope
something.
so.
But I would think so
if you
because
sign a non-compete, you better be getting good bennies from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Hmm.
Did
We
not
could-
know about that.
You can go down that rabbit hole for a while.
Right.
yeah.
Non-competes.
Well, I mean, just like the internet, how it used to be and how it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of how things used to be, so Microsoft is adding Microsoft games to Steam now, which is awesome. I
Yeah.
think.
Just another step in the we don't know what to do with Microsoft games.
I mean, yeah, true. Yeah. At least they acknowledged it instead of just being like, "No, we're great, but nobody can get our games. We're just gonna pull them all."
Yeah, I'm super glad that they kind of just decided, like, hey, Microsoft Store is not doing amazing.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people can play these games unless they have, like, an Xbox then, so we'd rather people just play them as much as possible than
Yeah.
us exclusively owning, like, the platforms they're on, which I think is a good move. Like,
Yeah.
to rather have your people, or people play your games than you own the platform they're playing on, I think is good at least.
I wonder how much of it is or isn't related to the fact that EA like started hosting their own games. or not EA, sorry, Epic Games, like
Yeah.
started hosting their own games. Because before that, like Microsoft Store was the only place that you could get their games
Right.
specifically. And I think that like just, for like Steam, Epic Games, like hosting their own stuff was a big move. So I wonder how much of it is kind of indirectly or directly tied into that.
Could be.
Has anyone rivaled Steam yet? No. I'm waiting for that day.
Yeah.
That's what Epic was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I was super behind like their method for it, which was like, we'll only take 10% of game sales, whereas everywhere else the standard is kind of like 30%.
Yeah.
It's a 70-30 split. So I was super behind that, like give devs more of the money, but then they started doing the whole like exclusivity stuff where they were paying devs to only release on their platform,
Yeah.
which I'm not all about. I like competition and I like giving devs more options and better pay, but not at the cost of like you have to use our service
Right.
versus
Yeah.
someone else.
And obviously it's like a little bit different, but I wonder if it's going to go back to kind of like what we were talking about earlier today, the like TV hosting, like
Oh,
if people
yeah.
are going to start pirating or trying to pirate games more often because there are now so many
Because now-
other like hosting
Options,
platforms that they have.
Yeah. But most of the hosting platforms, at least you don't have to pay.
That's true.
Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I have probably like Origin, the Epic Launcher, Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You play.
I probably
Yeah.
got Uplay.
Know it.
Yeah.
I get the
yeah.
points,
like,
man.
I think
The points,
GOG
yeah.
has their own launcher now, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Origin.
you don't pay.
Oh, done. Okay.
Origin isn't GOG, is it?
Oh, I thought you said EA. What'd you say?
GOG.
GOG.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. They probably, I think they do have something, but their all stuff is all DRM free, so they really don't
Yeah,
need it.
it's truly like a launcher, not a DRM vehicle.
Yeah.
But
Twitch has
yeah,
a launcher.
Yeah.
Really?
Which is a launcher?
Yeah, you can get a
Yeah.
bunch of games through Twitch. What
Huh.
else? Discord has
Discord
Gamefly
has
used
one,
to have
yeah.
something.
Uh-huh.
I think Gamefly used to have something, didn't they?
Yeah, Gamefly used to have a
Yeah.
launcher. Yeah.
Does Gamefly
It
still
still
exist?
I'm
That's a
pretty
good
sure it
question.
does, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
My son was rocking it for the longest
Yeah.
time.
It was
But
good.
that was the other thing too. That was another thing. As soon as he had to start like paying for his own stuff, he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Dad, I don't
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do this GameFly anymore. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna try to stay." Good handle there, Shawn.
What?
Didn't spill none of it.
No, man. Yeah, I used to have Gamefly. It was good.
Yeah.
And it was cool, like all those games on their little service were free. You didn't pay for those. Those were just a big collection of games
yeah,
for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the pricing on that? Was it like 20 for 3?
It's like Netflix pricing.
fair.
Did
yeah,
they ever
what-
get into streaming? Oh yeah, because you said it had downloadable,
Yeah, downloadable, but
Yeah.
not. I don't know if they have streaming.
but like because they had the disc delivery service for a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I used.
Oh okay.
Yeah, and then just for funsies, I might go play Psychonauts or something.
Okay.
Got it.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. No, I'm
I see you looking at the graph.
Checking out my levels. Gotta make sure we record your beautiful
But,
voice.
yeah.
Make sure we get that.
That was a good service. But nobody's been able to rival Valve yet.
Fair.
no. I mean, I think it's.
But it's annoying. They're all trying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They were one of the first, and like you can add non-Steam games to the library.
Yes,
on
I've
there.
done that a few times.
And like it's not just. Well, if it was only games made by Valve, it'd be like 6 games.
Yeah.
But I think
Mm.
that's the big thing. Like the Epic Game Store is only games made by Epic.
Have you ever tried the Steam Share Play or whatever? I don't know what the fuck I got. Like
Share
Family
Play?
Plan or it's like so
Oh,
you
yeah.
people could actually play your games like how
Yeah.
PlayStation has it.
Oh.
Yeah, you can
No, I didn't
add
know
like
about that.
you can
It's a
add,
real
like,
pain to set up. Last I heard, I don't know if it's still bad.
It's still a pain. But
Okay.
You can add like 3 or 4 people from your friends list to like this share list, and
Yeah.
they can view your library and download your games
Oh.
and play them with their own like save files, like completely free. You
the
just
last
add
time I heard, like
your
the guy
friends
had to
it.
come to your house and log in on your computer. It was
Yeah.
really a pain.
It's still like that. Like you have to go log in on their machine with yours and be like, "Hey, yes, I authorize this machine as my account or whatever."
I think for
but-
families that probably makes sense, but between friends it's a little awkward.
Yeah, especially like if you're trying to do it between friends across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like super cool. One of my friends has like 2 games on Steam, but I have like 60 something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Here,
Yeah.
have these. Like, you can play it." He hasn't played a
Yeah.
single one. He has them. I hooked it up for him, but
Do you ever look at that site that tells you like how long it would take you to
Oh
play
my
all
God.
your games?
Yeah.
no, I
No,
don't.
never.
It
And I
calculates
won't.
all
I
your games and
won't.
goes, this is how many hours of games you have waiting for you.
Yeah.
Never. I'll never look at it. No.
There's another one too that like tells you how much you give it your Steam name and that tells
Oh,
you
yeah.
how much you've spent on games.
How much
Yeah,
time
there's one for
wasted
League of
on
Legends
games?
that like you put in your summoner name and it'll tell you how much money you've spent on League of Legends. Never.
Like real
I'll
money?
Never. Yeah, like real money.
Oh,
Because
wow.
they're.
Why?
I'm a skin slut, dude. Like if they have a pretty skin, I need to look nice in the game. Like I need to be able to emote at you in the newest
So
skin.
you're the reason
like,
they have that system.
Like, oh my
I was
god.
like, who's buying this
Oh
stuff?
my god. They're Star Guardian
Oh,
line.
no.
They're
Now-
like magical girls.
That was good.
Oh,
That's
no.
good.
They
Oh,
like
no.
tapped into my subconscious and they're like, how can we make her
Well,
spend the most money possible?
I can't make
on
complete
this
fun of
game?
you. I
Yeah.
can't make
Oblivion.
complete fun of you because I bought Rocket League cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of the same.
I haven't spent money in League in like 2 or 3 years, but then they just released these like anime boy skins
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Ezreal and
Uh-huh.
hopped on that as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
Oh my.
The
Yeah, it makes you feel awful. You're like spending real money on
On
this
these
digital garbage.
so listen. There's
Well,
this. There's.
how much?
Wait,
like,
It
like-
depends. So they
Okay,
have
I'm
like
sorry. All right.
they have like levels of skins. There's like ones that are just like it looks different, but like
Uh-huh.
all the like animations are the same. All of the particle effects are the
Okay.
same. And those ones are usually like what, like $10, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
And then they have ones that are like all of the animations are new, all of the emotes are new, all of the
effects are
particle
new.
effects are new, like the voice lines are new, and I think those are like 15 to
Yeah.
20.
Hold on,
And then
hold
they
on.
have
a piece or like a package.
a piece.
Oh
a
my.
piece.
per
But
emote.
like, but like usually how it
Okay.
works. So usually how it works is
A-
they come out with
a
like
piece.
a piece.
Oh my lord.
See what you're missing out on, Tyke? You could be
Dude,
making a
no.
crappy
Why-
emote for $15 a pop.
No man, she would karate
Usually-
chop me in the back of the neck.
Usually what they'll do is they'll release like the cheaper ones and then one of the ones that's like nicer.
Okay.
They also have these other skins. What are those ones called? Are they the ultimate skins?
Yeah, they're like $30.
Yeah, but they're
God.
also so like one of them as an
a
example,
skin.
it's like a Lux skin. So, but here's the thing. So, like the Lux skin is the best example. It's Elementalist Lux,
Okay.
and it technically has like 10 forms with like custom animations, like custom like visual changes to the skin, and like custom voice lines. So like they go
Okay.
fucking all
Yeah,
out
like
with these
they
things.
put the
like,
work in. It's like
Yeah.
10
It's almost like a
separate
new
models
character.
for
Yeah,
this
yeah,
skin.
at that point. But like.
But it doesn't change
All
the game at all.
cosmetic.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
cosmetic. Yeah, all cosmetic. But like going back to my point, so the Star Guardian skins.
Okay.
I will bleed for Star Guardian skins, okay? And the last like series of them, because they kind of treat them like alt universes when they put them out. So they're still their characters, but they have stories and shit like that.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys aren't into them. KDA that they came out at the end of the year last year, they did an animated music video for that shit. It was like the
Okay.
top viewed thing in like the world for like a week. And it's amazing. The animation is amazing, but it's all based on the skins and like the universe the skins
Yeah,
are supposed to come from.
They put together a real actual
Yeah.
they put together a real actual K-pop band,
Yeah.
recorded a song, a single,
God.
Yeah.
and animated a music video all for this like skin line, this
Yeah,
line of
and it's
cosmetic
amazing.
video game skins.
Yeah, but like the Ari skin for the Star Guardians, so she was the $10 one of the $10 skins.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but like that anime laugh, that like oh ho 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 ho.
Okay.
She does that laugh for her laugh in that skin. I will die for that skin. That is my shit. Like
All you have to do is just like path that emote to one of your mouse buttons, so
Yeah.
whenever you're moving around, you're just
I
spamming the
path
most
it to my
annoying.
like mouse down button, so I just like in lane, I'm just spamming that, or like
So like
someone will.
every time you click, she emotes.
Yeah, she just and she like puts her hand to her mouth and everything is like
Oh
oh,
my
ho, ho, and I'm just like oh, it's really good. It's really good.
So people are just trying to play with you normally, and you're just playing normally. But
Yeah.
since you know, bound that button to that emote, you're just sitting there
Yeah.
destroying everybody's audio for the game.
Or like when you hit your ultimate, I'll do it too. So every time you like hit your ultimate, she starts laughing, and it's just like, I go here. It's the ultimate form of BM is laughing when you do something.
That game's not fun because it's fun. It's fun because you can ruin other people's experience.
Yeah.
So you control another. I got you.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
Fortnite was way worse though. Like I never spent money on Fortnite. Their skins in that game were like $20 for
Yeah.
just regular run-of-the-mill skins.
Hold up. So I'm confused now. So what? You pay for the Game Pass? You don't get a skin with that?
So
Wait,
there
for
are
Fortnite?
the way the
Fortnite
pass
Game
works
Pass.
is there are skins that come out with it, but they come out with other skins that aren't in the pass.
Okay, and those you gotta pay extra.
Those you have to. But there are like
okay.
there are maybe like 5 because I haven't bought one in a while, but I did back when I used to play it really frequently. There are probably 5 like in the Game Pass, and then maybe like their second or third season they started doing these like phase like skins that you got when you like maxed out the pass, and like they visually change, like they add something, or like you can change the color or something like that. I think one year or one pass it was like a robot, and you could like change its face, like if you got the like extra levels for it, and that came with the pass.
I got you.
Okay.
But they also had like other skin lines that came out because they refresh their store every like 24 hours unless it's the weekend, and then it like lasts all weekend.
Okay.
And they sometimes recycle, but I would say probably like at least 3 out of like 7 days of the week it's brand new skins.
They pump out a lot of content. It's just like I like League skins better. You get like new voice lines, new animations, new particle effects. In Fortnite, you get a new model.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Still.
Okay. Wow. Learned a lot.
15
Yeah.
on up from there, fam.
Don't do the math.
No,
Don't do the math.
That's what I'm saying.
No, so they came out with prestige skins recently.
So just all right, hold on. My
This
bad.
is another rabbit hole. So
No,
prestige
that's fine,
skins are
that's
like
fine.
those ultimate skins.
Right.
But like so originally, and I have kind of an issue with this. Originally, the way that they worked is they would have these events for the launching of new skin lines, and they would technically be like a recoloring of a skin that came out in the line. So like as an example, when KDA came out, there was a Kaisa skin, and then there was a prestige version of the skin, which was like gold.
You can't earn that. You have to pay
So,
for that.
so technically,
Oh my
so no, technically
Sorry.
when they first came out, there would be the events, and you could earn event points through like just playing the game.
Okay.
But then they now have specific prestige skins you can only get through buying things in their store and getting tokens for them. And I'm like, this is so bullshit.
It's like a credit reward program.
Yeah. So like, I refuse to touch those because I'm like, I'm gonna like earn. I'm gonna earn
She's
mine.
got her standards.
Yeah.
I will admit
She has her
there is like a prestige skin that just came out, and like as soon as I got my paycheck, I might have dropped some dollar bills on it because I really wanted it. But that one was one of the ones that you could have earned. So I just got to like what I was missing so that I could get her.
Okay.
Because those ones you can't just buy straight out. You have to like get the points for them. But like the ones that are literally you have to buy things out of their store to get them, I refuse. I refuse.
Eat today, or
Yeah.
do you wanna...
Do I want a shiny skin in the game?
Skin in a
Yeah.
video game.
Ramen noodles only 87 cents.
Right?
I envy those games.
I don't.
Like once you've made the game, all you need to do is just release skins and shit,
Yeah, right.
and
Yeah.
you're just
It's very
banking.
spaghetti
And
code.
bang.
Boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom.
Yeah,
Even-
it's,
Did they release the source code?
Oh.
No, but like you
Stuff
can tell
just
from
never
playing.
really works.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like have perfect ping, but the game just like disconnects you,
Oh, neat.
and
Yeah,
like
there's
have
some
internet
random
and that.
stuff that
or-
happens in that game.
Yeah, and I mean, they still consider themselves technically an indie company. I don't really know how they get away with that, but they do.
Wow.
The most popular game in the world.
Yeah.
Make,
But
like,
indie
the most
company-
money, but they're an indie company.
Really? Like they're trying to.
Is it a
They-
matter
they,
of
like-
being publicly traded or something? Is that what
I
makes
think
them
it's
indie?
a matter of
Could
they
they self-publish?
publish their own
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the only game that they make money off of. It's their only game,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
guess
still
that
like
makes sense.
the most popular game in the world.
Yeah.
It's kind of like EA making a game, being like, we're an independent company because we don't have a publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
us.
I was
Yeah.
looking for a loophole. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Don't they have in colleges and stuff like that? Don't they have like
They have
college
some-
teams or something like
They
that?
have college teams, and they have, and now in certain places there's college scholarships. So
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a friend that, and like some of the scholarships are kind of like shady. So there
No, that's between you guys. More equally.
there are like there are multiple ways that you can like play ranked with League.
Okay.
There's like the regular like solo or duo queue where you
Okay.
play with like yourself and one other person, and then whoever is else on your team that are random. Or they have like a flex queue, which means that you can queue up with 3 or more people intentionally, and then you do that. But everyone's kind of like, that's a shit show and it's a joke. But they also have this other thing called Twisted Tree Line, and it's only 2 lanes as opposed to 3. And there are kind of like mini goals in the game, and nobody fucking touches Twisted Tree Line, but there's a ranked version of it. So the rule for the scholarship was you have to be like gold or like platinum to get the scholarship. So one of my friends in college got platinum in Twisted Tree Line, and he got the scholarship.
Wow.
So like,
how much of it is it like a full ride type of deal? Is it like a certain?
I think it depends on the school, because like obviously certain schools it's like video games are like a bigger thing than they are for other ones. Like there are certain like collegiate like teams that are playing on like a much bigger stage compared to other ones, and so at those I'm pretty sure it's like a bigger scholarship. But like at his it was probably like half of his scholarship, so or half of his like ride to the school. So
okay, half is still like
it's still
amazing.
But how long did it take him to acquire this platinum status?
Not very long, because
Really?
like Twisted Treeline is literally like when people are trying to level up accounts, because in League you can't play ranked until you're 30.
Okay.
They'll play Twisted Treeline because it takes like less time, and it's like a 3v3 as opposed to a 5v5. And they're not necessarily easier depending on like the team you're playing with, but they're easier. And like nobody, most of the people that like take League seriously, unless you're getting like a rank in like a solo/duo queue, they don't give a shit what rank you are. Like unless you got it solo duo queue, they're like,
whatever.
Yeah, what the fuck? Because like if you were to do it in Flex, like your friends could have probably fucking carried you there.
Oh, okay.
And if you're doing it in Twisted Treeline, like no one takes Twisted Treeline seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, so if any of you want to
a
start
lot about
playing
League
League of
today.
Legends,
I don't want to get yelled at.
League of Legends. League of Legends.
I want Abby to be laughing at me all day.
Well, apparently, like you go in as a noob, they'll be mad at you.
Yeah, it
really- They'll be very mad at
It's
you.
not nice.
It's bad.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point because like I don't necessarily tilt from people being like, oh, you suck or anything like that, but like it like I feel the need to trash talk back. And like I feel like mental like if you're trying to like climb in the game, and I am mainly just because like my friends are assholes and like they like try and trash talk me when they're the ones that like stuck me in support at the beginning of the game in the first place. And now I don't play like support that much anymore unless I'm playing with them. I play like other roles, but I'll just mute people. If you like say something that's like shitty, I'm just like mute and I'm done. Like, because I don't care what you say, and like I'm here to have fun in the game, and if you're gonna ruin my experience, then I'm like out. So
Yeah.
I did that once.
yeah.
I didn't realize that it just mutes them to you, not the other way in reverse.
Yeah.
So it's like, I muted that, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, he can hear everything you're saying. I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was both.
What I meant to do.
I'll put in there, I'll be like, because you can tell when someone's typing in League of Legends, because their character model just stops moving and they're just standing there for a few minutes. So I'll mute someone, and then like they'll stop moving, and I'll just put in all chat, I'll like, stop talking to me, like I muted you, like we're done. Like
the only redeeming factor of League is it doesn't have a in-game. Oh, I guess now it does, but it doesn't have.
party.
Yeah, it doesn't have an in-game voice chat for like the entire team. You have to actually party up for it. So like Overwatch, oh my gosh, it was way worse. You'd start playing competitive in Overwatch, and if you didn't get in the voice chat, you'd get yelled at. And then if you got in it, you'd get yelled at, but with people's voices. So it was like, hey, join the voice chat.
Yeah.
No, I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you.
I haven't played it in a long time, but I bet you it's exactly like League of Legends. Just people mad at you for being a noob, for not being awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No.
So I noticed you put water in
I
your
did.
scotch.
I had to dilute it a little bit, man. It was a little bit.
Come on, man.
It was a dab. It was a dab.
It opens up the scotch. Yeah,
I'm drinking the hard stuff.
Well,
What are you talking about?
still, okay.
This got pineapple.
Fair,
Yeah, man.
fair. Just like
5%
water and
or
scotch
something?
sounds like
Funky Buddha.
Cold, no, water and whiskey is perfectly acceptable. It opens up some of the flavors. It makes them a little easier to process.
Is that for all the liquors? Because I think I've seen that for vodka.
water
I-
and vodka?
Isn't it that like it's, I
I've
forget
never-
what they
I've
call
never
it, but
put
like
water
you
in
put
vodka.
vodka into stuff and somehow it changes the flavor in a good way.
That sounds
Okay.
like something I'd like to try.
But
I've never done that, but
No,
I
vodka
forget what they
tastes
call
like
it. There's a
thinner.
name for it. Yeah, I don't remember the name for it, but they call it
like
something.
Scotch or like Irish whiskey, or even not rum, but like Scotch or Irish
Yeah.
whiskeys, and then put like a few drops of ice water in it. Yeah,
stop judging me, Cole.
yeah.
See, now it sounds like it would just be better to have actual ice cubes so it can melt into your scotch.
I'm trying to be fancy over here.
It's got in trouble for watering down lemonade because the lemonade only like filled up a quarter of my glass, so I was like, let me just fill the rest of this glass with water and have slightly lemon tasting water instead. I got in trouble. My friend was like, is the lemonade too spicy for you, Cole? Are you watering down your lemonade?
Oh no.
So stupid.
Oh, friends.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys already pre-ordered the Stadia?
I know somebody that did.
No.
There's
Yeah.
a couple people on Twitter that are like,
Bergen-
got it right away.
Yeah, immediately. He got the
Founders.
Pro version or whatever that is.
So
yeah.
the Founders Edition, yeah. What is it? It's like 3 months of the Stadia Pro, a controller, a Chromecast Ultimate. And is that it?
You get 3 months for a friend too.
And 3
Yeah,
months for a
that's
friend.
right.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Is the
For,
Ultimate the
for
4K?
130
Is that
bucks,
what-
that's not
Well,
bad. Like the Chromecast Ultimate's like $50 on its own. I think.
Yeah, the Ultimate does the
The Ultimate does
4K.
4K.
Okay.
Yeah. The regular Chromecast is like $30, but it doesn't do 4K.
Right. But you got to have a 4K TV in order to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
But
course.
you have to have an Ultimate to be able to receive
Got it.
Stadia stuff at all.
And you also have to have the right setting of internet. You have to have like what, 35?
Well, they're still saying
It's still
35 megabit per second for 4K.
I'm still
And they
like
say
cautious of it, but
Yeah,
after today, I was like
seems
this
insane.
close to getting that.
Well, they
Are you
say
going
even
good?
if
You
you
think
have
you're
down
good?
to like,
I still.
even if you have down to like 10 megabits a second, they say they'll still be able to stream at 720p, 30 frames per second.
I refuse to believe that,
Isn't it
but
4K at 60 frames or some shit like that?
For
4K,
35.
60 frames per second,
For 35, yeah.
for 35
Yeah.
megabits
That's
per
crazy.
second. That's I don't know how
I
they're
still,
compressing their
like-
data, but that's insane.
I still like
Somebody lied.
refuse to
I-
believe that. But
Yeah.
after today's like
Yeah.
presentation, I was this close to getting it because
They've
the
got-
idea of being able to play multiplayer games at like 4K
Yeah.
without having to
Without
do
having-
any of the
Yeah.
power on your own
The
seems
controller,
super cool.
I don't like their controller. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
it's-
parallel sticks. I don't like parallel
I
sticks.
feel
Yeah,
like
the-
it'll be an acquired taste.
The controller
Yeah.
is not Bluetooth, right? It's Wi-Fi or something?
If you
Yeah,
want it to be
something like that,
good,
yeah.
yeah, you don't want a Bluetooth too slow.
Right.
And in the presentation, they said that it connects directly to the server in
Yeah.
their data centers, not to like the
Oh,
browser
yeah,
and then the server.
yeah.
But they also said it'll work with any controller. So like,
Yeah.
so I can use like an Xbox One controller with offset sticks.
I feel like
but then
there's
how
a
do I connect it to the Stadia?
I feel like there's a bit of a
servers?
caveat there. Like if you're using like a plugged-in PlayStation controller, then it goes through Chrome to the center or
Oh,
something.
maybe.
So
Yeah,
I feel like
okay.
they'll
Mm.
once it releases, people will be like, if you use a different controller, there's latency.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
but
Which hopefully they'll release like more than one Stadia controller, like something with offset sticks.
I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch of like third-party. Hey, like
Oh, of course. yeah.
here's
I think
the
if Google was smart, they would just release 2 versions of it.
yeah.
Like it's not a big change. Just move the left stick up a little bit.
Do you like the
Swap.
Xbox?
It's basically just
Yeah,
here's
like
the
the Xbox.
version
But you
that
own a
copies the
PlayStation.
Xbox, and
I
here's
know
the
that's the
version
only
that
thing I don't
copies
like
the
about the PlayStation.
Okay.
Is the parallel sticks.
Yeah, I
Which
like
is
the-
weird 'cause I grew up on parallel sticks.
I like the Xbox controller myself.
I prefer that. Yeah.
But I've
Like,
had to
you
fight
reach-
so many
you can reach the
PlayStation people
D-pad
that
with your right thumb so much easier.
It's like
Mm.
the perfect controller.
It truly is, dude.
Wait, the Xbox or the PlayStation?
Xbox.
The Xbox
Oh, yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Other
I
than
think
mouse.
I'm gonna wait like a solid I don't know, maybe I'm gonna try and do like 6 months or whatever, just trying to wait out to see what the first cats do, the first guinea pigs or
See-
whatever. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
and then just go from there. Like then bite on it or whatever. See how they make the product
I
better.
want to
and
wait
stuff.
to make sure that it actually like
Yeah,
works.
right,
Yeah.
right.
they
Yeah.
stand
But I
behind
also
it would be
don't
nice.
own
Yeah.
like a Chromecast, and I also want
Yeah,
my like
yeah, they make it.
my
Yeah.
username on on the
I'm worried it's gonna
service.
go the same way as everything else. Like, how's that Shadow thing doing?
That's what I
I
was gonna ask.
I
yeah.
had it for a month, and it was good for gaming. If that's mainly what you wanted to do, if that's
Yeah.
all that you really wanted to do.
But that's not what you were trying to do.
I wanted it to be like I wanted it to replace like a home computer. Like
Yeah,
I wanted to do my
but I
4K
thought it
video
could.
editing. It could, but the thing is, all my storage and whatnot, I couldn't have it.
Oh, that's right. There was a
locally.
limit.
Yeah, there was a
Oh,
limit,
that, and you had to
then I
transfer.
Yeah, so like when I'm trying to like encode and
Oh,
stuff
God.
like that, yeah.
So you're encoding directly from the
Yeah.
cloud to the
Unless
cloud.
unless I missed a step and I was doing something wrong, but I was like, nah, this is.
No,
this
that
is
sounds
too
right.
This is
Take
this
like
is.
2 hours to encode 5 minutes of 4K footage.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
So I was like, this I
That's not an
can't.
efficient workflow.
I can't work in this
rough.
pipeline. Like I can't produce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So good concept. But we'll
Mhm.
see what happens. But like at least for this Google joint, I just want to see what other casts say and do.
Yeah.
But that price to like one because is it just right now 130 or is it going to jack up?
I think
Well,
it's gonna jack up, 'cause
the-
the Founders Edition is limited time, limited.
I know
slots.
Google's done that with other services. Like
Yeah.
early in, they'll give you like $1 or $2
Yeah.
discount that'll last forever.
I feel like they'll.
Yeah.
I feel like there's
130
a-
is for a controller and hardware too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like the
Same.
130 is like a finite. Here's the resources we have for the
Yeah.
Founders Edition. Once those are out, like we're done with that.
Yeah.
And then they have like what the Pro and the base version of
Pro
the
and base
service.
version, yeah.
And the Pro
Yeah.
version is still only like $10
Yeah,
a month.
I meant like
And-
the service though. The service they might charge you less, like
Gotcha.
an introductory rate
They
that keeps
they
forever.
said there was
Yeah.
like you pay monthly and you get whatever game is on their service.
Yep.
You could just download it and play it or stream it. I guess you wouldn't download it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they said there was also the version where you could just pay for the game you want. And I don't know if
I
that
kinda
would be
like
pay a much lower prorated amount for the game,
Yeah.
or if it would be pay $60 for the game
And, yeah.
because the game costs $60.
The impression I got is you pay $60 for access to the game, and you don't pay a subscription fee.
And it's just they do all the hardware
Yeah,
work for you.
which I would
Okay.
like, because I love video games, but I don't have enough time to burn through 2 or 3 a month
Absolutely,
anymore.
yeah.
It takes me 8 months.
It takes
to
some
finish
months.
a game.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I could pay $60 for one at a time, that would be way better than paying $10 a month for
Yeah.
40 games.
Like-
I see what you're
not gonna
saying.
play.
I'm looking at their list of games that are coming out on release, and they're
Yeah.
all AAA games, so it's gonna take you
Yeah.
Whole bunch
good
of
amount of
Ubisoft
time.
joints, right? Like the Odyssey.
a bunch of
Yeah.
Bethesda, there's a couple indies, but
Some indie stuff.
for the
Did you
most part
see-
it's Ubisoft, Bethesda.
The trailer for that Guilt game.
Yeah, that looked
Did
pretty
that
good.
remind anyone else of Little Nightmares?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly
I
what
was
I was
like, wait,
thinking.
is this a full 3D Little
Mhm.
Nightmares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this weird thing with Little Nightmares because
Okay.
my best friend had an RP group when she was younger, and the story evolved into stuff she's made comics about and stuff she wanted to make video games about, and it was called Little Nightmares. But the concept was it was this limbo world where these kids kind of almost took storybook farms that were related to how they died. So one of them was this Little Red Riding Hood kind of character, and that kind of thing. But she's I can't do it anymore because
Yeah.
Little Nightmares is out, and everyone's gonna be oh, the video game, and she's rebranded it since then. But now whenever I hear it, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really good game though.
yeah, it is a really
Little
good
Nightmares
game.
is a great game.
Yeah.
That was one of the only games where I've had this kind of experience. I had a whole bunch of friends come to my apartment, and my friend played through the entire game in one sitting while
Oh.
everyone just kind of sat and watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all had input on how shitty he was playing this horror
Yes,
game.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
But that's the only game I've ever played in that kind of format where one person's playing and everyone's watching it like kind of a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was super
Nice.
cool. I kind of wish there were more games that only took an hour, 2 hours to play and were
Yeah.
very atmospheric.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
was
know.
super fun. I loved doing that.
I don't know if it's only 2 or so hours to play, but there's that one game. It's by the people that made Limbo. Is it Inside?
Yes.
Dude, that game was
I haven't played
fucking
that one.
wild.
Still
Is
haven't
it-
played it.
It's good.
I played
It's
Limbo.
Limbo?
I haven't
It-
played-
Or the.
Inside.
Oh,
It's
okay.
very in the line of Little Nightmares in the
Okay.
way that it's set up like that.
Yeah.
But Inside is creepy as shit.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then you get to the end and they have some amazing dynamic liquid style shaders and shit going on. But
Okay.
it's a really weird I'm not sure what the fuck is going on here throughout the entire game, but I think they do atmosphere really well.
Kojima? Like what?
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it might as
yeah,
well
I know,
be.
right?
And it's a very
Stranding.
atmospheric yeah, right. But it's a good experience, and they do that kind of side scroller thing, but without
Okay.
really feeling like a side scroller really
Yeah.
well.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's dope.
You're talking about atmospheric games that don't take long. Did you play Distraint?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a creepy game. Yeah.
Am I still the only one here who's played Abzu? Have any of you guys played Abzu?
I played that, yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
haven't played it.
That game it's not atmospheric, scary atmospheric, but it's
Sure.
gorgeous and very tranquil and relaxing. It's if you have an afternoon to
Yeah.
just chill out and relax on your couch, you play that, you turn the audio way up, and
Done.
Okay.
man, that game is so good.
Is that
VR
another one that you
version
can
of it.
finish in
It's-
a couple hours?
Have you heard it? Yeah, it's a 2 hour, 1.5 hour game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever played Journey?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's pretty. It's like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
done
in the
deal.
very same
Okay.
kind of genre.
Cool.
I like me some Journey.
The other Stadia Founders Edition thing is you get full access to Destiny 2 and the new
Oh, yeah.
expansion.
Is it myself?
I don't really care about Destiny.
I started playing it last year and I love it, but I
Okay.
don't have the time to play through
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
all of Destiny 2 and the
And
expansions.
yeah.
So I feel if I got the pro version of Stadia, I'd be well, I gotta play Destiny, and I gotta play this new
Yeah.
Ghost Recon game,
Yup,
and
yup,
Destiny
yup.
and Division
Yep.
2, and they're all part of
Is it
Stadia.
Borderlands
and-
3, I think. is
yeah,
it?
Borderlands
Yeah,
3's on
yeah.
it.
What?
I
I thought, man, I don't have $130.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I really like. I played Destiny 1 like pretty religiously, and I like the concept and the universe and whatever. But like, and my mindset on it has changed a little bit. But like the whole way that they handled the DLCs for that one was just like,
Yeah.
like they had the different like expansions come out, and they charged you for them. And then I think they came out with like maybe 3, and then they put out a version of the game where you could pay like base price for the game and get those 3 expansions. And so it was kind of like, okay, so all of the people that were loyal to your game
Yeah.
bought it when it came out and then bought all the expansions. You're just like, oh hey, fuck you.
Middle finger. Yeah. Yeah.
So I haven't touched the second one. I really think like what they did with the second one was cool, but like I just haven't touched it because like the DLC stuff for the first one kind of burned me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that like the story and the whole method that they were putting out content past the base release wasn't all that great, but the gameplay is still like
Yeah, it was.
really, really good.
Well, and that
You
too, like,
excited?
Yeah.
yeah, I like to punch things.
Yep, same here.
There's something
Thanks,
so satisfying about like ulting and just like slamming down on the ground and like destroying everything around you. But like also that like the actual base game like wasn't a game. Like the story was it felt so incomplete by the time you got done with like
Sure,
what was
yeah.
in the base game.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that probably would have made a big difference to me if they had like all these DLCs and then like the base game had been like really rich and like a really good game, but like I got to the end of the game and I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, what did I
What?
just waste my time on? Like,
Yeah. I remember-
Usually, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, totally off topic. Homefront was like that.
yeah,
Like it just ended on the San Francisco Bridge, and I was like, wait, I've only been playing for 4 hours.
yeah.
What the fuck?
I feel like I've gotten pretty good at whenever I play like a looter shooter kind of game where it's meant for you yourself or multiplayer. I don't pay much attention to the story because it's like for the same reason I hate MMORPGs. Like the story is for everyone playing at the same time, and it can be very disjointed.
Yeah.
You just focus on what the actual missions are or whatever and play it
Yeah.
for what it is. But after playing Destiny, I just got that much more excited for playing Halo again on
Yeah.
PC.
Did you ever try the raid?
I don't think I have.
I never
no.
had enough friends to do the raids.
I'm the one that's like, damn it, Tyke. You're fucking up shit. I've been drinking, so I apologize.
Yeah.
But I'm having fun. Dude.
I was always like higher level than my friends, so my like
Oh,
my
yeah.
like game style, like I played a Vanguard class in all of the Mass Effect games. So like my play style is I'm going to rush in, shoot things directly in the face, and melee as much as possible. And so like I would be playing with my little brother, and he would always be like lower level than me, and we'd go into these zones, and I would just like run up to things, and they have like the cabals, which are these giant ass, you know, like monster things.
Yeah.
And I would just like be punching them in the face, and my little brother would be like, "What are we doing?" It's like, don't worry about it.
So Borderlands 3 is coming out for Stadia, right?
Yeah.
That was in the video. But they're also coming out with the Borderlands 2 DLC. Y'all see that?
I
Supposed
miss
to be
that.
like a tie-in
Yeah.
between
yeah.
2 and
like
3.
like
Oh,
to
I missed
bridge
it.
the gap between
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't know there was that much of a story.
Well,
to
heck.
Borderlands.
I guess
might-
they have to explain why you're traveling between planets all of a sudden.
I guess.
I guess in Borderlands 3, Pandora has been like taken over by like under siege by some poison gas, so they all had to go to outer space. Or
Oh,
something.
I don't know.
I don't know. So that's according to the article.
I feel like they
Oh.
could have just started like with a completely
Yeah.
separate story and no one would have cared.
No.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, I like
whatever.
the spaceship that like that's your home base in Borderlands 3 is called Sanctuary too.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That reminds me of Warframe. Warframe is like your hub world is
yeah.
on your spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one that I wanted to play that I never played.
It's
but I
such a
heard it's-
grind fest.
So
But,
here's
but
here's my problem with Warframe. It's a
Educate-
good ass
educate me,
game.
Cole.
It is
Yeah.
so good and it's free to play and it's very pretty. They put a ton of work into like their animations, their effects, their models, textures, all that stuff. But the levels are all the same level just with different
Yeah.
like skins on them.
Yeah.
And like I could get past the grinding. Like I love grinding. I have no problem grinding for gear and loot and getting
Okay.
credits and all that stuff. But if grinding just means playing the same level and the missions are all like, you know how in any looter shooter kind of game the missions are usually within the same like half dozen kinds of missions, but it was like that for Warframe, but the levels are the same layout and format with like hallways and rooms, but just with different wall models and different enemies.
Is it all PvE? Like you can't play against like fight
There-
other cats or something
there's
like
an-
that?
I don't know.
There's an existing PvP
Is it any good,
system.
though?
I don't think that most people that play Warframe play the PvP. I'll also say, like, so my boyfriend and I have been playing Warframe since, like, it was in beta. And I think it's still technically in beta, but, like, when it was first in beta.
What?
Like,
It's
when
still
I
in-
was in high school, I was
Okay.
playing
That must-
Warframe. And it's gotten a lot, like, more user-friendly because back when it was, like, first out, it would just kind of stick you in the world and you have to just figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like beginner friendly now, and they're working on like, because like I agree with you, like it's a lot of just the same like levels over and over again. They have like open world places now that you can go in, and there's like crafting and that kind of stuff, which is good because like the Warframes are incredibly hard to get unless you're willing to pay money for them.
What, crafting for like armor and shit like
So-
that?
And like
so
weapons
that-
and
Done.
there's
Okay,
like
alright,
there's
okay.
like the whole gimmick is you have these Warframe suits and they're
Yeah.
basically different classes of characters with their own abilities and
Got
stuff.
it.
It's super cool. It's just if it wasn't the same game over and over,
What are like the
I'd
main
be
classes
into
are
it.
kind of like, hey,
So
what,
it's not
sniper
even
and-
it's not even a main class. Like each Warframe has unique abilities. So like my favorite two Warframes are Mirage and Octavia.
Okay.
And like Mirage's whole thing is like she's like a jester, so she does like
The laugh.
if she did, I would be spending so much money. But like, so she does like illusions and mines and that kind of thing.
She
and
doesn't
then
have Mirage?
no, Mirage does.
Oh, okay.
And then Octavia, she's totally like a sound-based character, so you can actually make music for her, and she's a support-ish Warframe.
Okay.
And like as an example, if you like crouch to the beat of her music, you gain invisibility.
Really?
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah, like that's a thing.
I
So
didn't know
like,
about that at
teabagging.
all.
yeah,
Amazing.
or like yeah,
Teabagging to the
yeah,
okay, to
and
the
you
beat.
get invisibility.
I like that.
Or
Okay,
like
that's
one
my
of the newer Warframes that I really like is Garuda, and she's like a blood-based Warframe, and her whole thing is like life steal and that
Okay.
kind of thing. So like depending, almost all of their Warframes are like completely different. They have kind of similar like, oh, this is an area of effect kind of thing, but like every single Warframe is completely different, and they have like tank Warframes and support Warframes and that kind of thing.
Right.
But each one is very unique in their style.
Okay.
In my opinion, the issue with Warframe is so like enemy health and like armor can go up infinitely. You max out as a Warframe in any of your items on level 30, and then past that, the only way that you can get more like damage or anything like that is they have like a mod-based system that's like cards that you can collect / buy, whether with in-game currency or like real money. And so if you don't like, there becomes a point with the grinding where you like level out, and there's like no way you can do some of the harder stuff because they'll just like shred you. Because the enemies can get to like level 100 and you're still down
And
at
you're still
level
at 30.
30. And I mean, if you have like the mods and the weapons for it, you're still doing fine. But if you don't have those things, which take a lot of grinding, then you're just fucking screwed.
Okay. Yeah.
Does it take a while to get to that level 30 type of deal? Or is it kinda just like,
It's not
man,
awful.
It's not awful. So I got in the habit of, and they do like kind of weekly missions now that give you special items. And they have these like relic things that you can use on those missions that will give you kind of items you wouldn't normally be able to farm. And so if I have, because you can also kind of prestige them, for lack of better words, where you reset them to like 0, but you get another mod slot.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you can make them stronger. Like what I'll do is if I have to like level someone up, I'll go in with a friend that's already level 30, and we'll go into one of those missions that's like multi-phase that could technically go on infinitely, but they get harder every like 5 levels or so.
Okay.
And I'll bring like my level 1 into like a level 40 mission, and they'll level up really quick because
Yeah,
like
just go-
I'm
yeah,
but
yeah.
but I
Yeah,
feel like
okay.
probably around 20 to 30 is where it gets kind of grindy. But they also do like login bonuses and stuff like that, and they'll give you like, oh, this is an XP bonus, oh, this is a resource bonus.
Right.
So
That's straight up
Okay.
sperm right there.
What?
I don't.
Well, you know,
Okay.
I was seriously paying attention.
Oh
And
no,
then
I'm
it-
sure
I don't
you
was
think-
like,
yeah.
I don't think Tyke was paying attention.
I don't think
Yeah.
so, Ty.
I promise I was.
Wow.
But then I was
I
like,
don't-
I was like,
Okay.
that caught me off guard for a
We
second.
need to clarify what he's
There's
talking
there's
about.
a beer can in front of me that has like this like
It has juice.
juice like
That
coming
ain't
off
juice.
of
Nah,
the pineapple
sorry,
that's on
fam.
it.
That is straight up.
All right, Tyke.
Okay.
Okay.
Get
Wow.
that man a drink.
Yeah.
Yes. You tell me.
I don't really think so.
You tell me, listeners, does this
No.
look like sperm?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, but I also don't like immediately look at like
I did it.
liquid like going out in a certain direction and be like, that's sperm. Like,
Well,
Babies.
Tyke does.
Yes, I do. Yes. Skeet. Sorry, that's what we want.
Well, okay, I guess we'll
Abby is
move on to
sorry.
the
I'm sorry,
next
Shawn.
topic.
I apologize.
I'll let it slide this time.
I'm deeply offended.
Let's see how this goes.
yeah.
Talk about movies. Talk about movies now.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Oh my
Is
god.
that a
Oh my
terribly
God.
inappropriate segue?
Oh my God.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't wait for that.
I can't. I'm so stoked.
I'm gonna need Dan to hold my hand. Like I'm not bullshitting. Like I'm dead serious.
Oh, it looks so good.
I'm a
The
grown
only,
ass man.
the only one I'm kind of like not feeling good about is is it like the red spot? Is it like
Yeah.
the one? I am so not into like body horror things,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about that. But it's such like a kind of section of the movie that I feel like I'll
Yeah.
probably be okay like covering my eyes.
It's
and
not
going
the
on.
whole movie.
Do
yeah.
we know
Yeah.
if it's gonna be like a tied together, full continuous plot, or like an anthology
I think.
kind of deal?
Well, so actually, so it kind of reminded me of the Goosebumps movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because, like, I guess these kids find this book that's
Yeah.
scary stories to tell in the dark.
Sure.
And they read them, and as they're reading the stories come to life.
So there'll
Yeah.
be like segmented parts of the movie, but it'll be the same
It's all
character.
one.
Yeah.
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 It's like the
Okay, I'm
stories
down
coming
with
to
that.
life.
It's like
but
the
in a
never-ending
consistent
story,
way.
but make it a horror and make it more than
Yeah.
one reader.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Same.
Did the trailer have a rating on it?
I don't know.
I don't think
I don't
so.
remember.
I like though that it looks like they're making it for adults who are
Adults.
fans of the books,
Yeah.
not like for 10-year-olds
Well,
now.
I'm very happy that like I was telling you that the one memory that like sticks about those books is the super creepy illustrations,
Yeah.
like the style for the visuals in that book, and I'm glad that the movie looks like it's taking a very visual and like visceral approach to the monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it was just like a atmospheric horror, it wouldn't
Yeah.
work the same way
Yeah.
as like
Yeah.
completely over the top monster
I mean,
horror.
the stories themselves were like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
they're campfire stories,
Yeah.
but it was the illustrations, the original illustrations, not the new ones.
Yeah. That made it as
sold-
scary as it was.
That sold the book to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know that anyone but Guillermo del Toro though could like
Gotta love that
stick
dude.
so truly to like the original ones and like make them scary visually like when bringing them to life.
Is he
Oh, yeah.
directing or just producing? 'Cause I
I
think there was
think
there was
he's
another
producing.
director
Good
on.
question.
I think he's producing.
Okay.
One
Can't remember
thing
who's actually directing.
one thing I will say which I find really
Cole's on it.
interesting is like yeah, like you said, like they're very much it seems like making it for like people that probably read it originally when they were kids.
Yeah.
But there's still and maybe there wasn't any other way that they felt they could properly like kind of tap into this, but and not that I necessarily have a problem, but there has been a lot of like films and TV lately leaning back to that kind of like, oh, we're young in the summer and we're on this like adventure kind of thing,
Yeah.
like Goonies-esque,
Yeah.
like, and not that I have a problem with it because like I was raised on like Goonies and shit like that, and so like those kind
As
of
she's
adventures.
wearing a Stranger Things shirt.
Yeah, right. So like those kind of stories are like really neat, especially
Yeah.
because like for me personally, like I never went to a school for more than like 2 years, so I didn't have those like, oh, we've known each other
Oh,
since
okay.
diapers, like friends,
Yeah.
friends
Right,
till
right,
the
right,
end
right.
kind of thing. But I think it's really interesting that that's kind of the format that they decided to go with is like this group of friends that like roll into
Yeah.
this adventure kind of thing.
So
I wonder if that was inspired at all by the popularity of it.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say
And,
I
like,
Yeah.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
like you said, like Super 8 and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope I
Yeah,
like this
Super
one
8.
as
Super
much
8,
as
yeah.
I liked it. It was
Yeah.
breath of fresh air to me in horror, and if this one can get that same kind of feeling of like this group of friends like having this common like antagonist but like
Yeah.
starting to like yell at each other because they have different
Yeah.
approaches to it,
Yeah.
I'll really like it.
Have you guys seen the ad for the new one that's coming out? Because they've released the trailer for
Oh
the
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks just as good. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for that
Yeah.
one.
Isn't Stranger Things the next season coming out soon?
July 4th, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
so it's independent.
okay.
Got it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
like all of their like advertisement stuff is like the 4th of July like
Smart.
stuff is happening in the summer kind of
That's
thing.
right.
So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Their advertising is so on point, dude.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is so on point.
Yeah.
It-
Right?
yeah.
Right?
It's amazing.
So Guillermo del Toro is
Oh.
he co-wrote the screenplay.
Okay.
Okay.
He's not the director though.
Who's directing?
Who's yeah?
Andre someone else read this.
You pointed to me. All right.
literally
Andre-
anyone else.
Yeah.
Andre or
Overdell?
Why does his
Overdell.
name
Overdell.
sound familiar? Has he
He-
done anything?
In the trailer, they gave him a credit for something else
Oh, okay.
that I recognized, but I can't remember what it was.
What?
Sean, do you know? Alright.
No.
He did.
Oh, he's got a lot
He
of
did the
credits.
Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Okay.
He did Troll Hunter.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Troll Hunter was good.
Yeah, that's kinda
No,
like
I agree.
The
Yeah,
only
I
things
like
I've
Troll
heard
Hunter.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like the ads for the Autopsy of Jane Doe. I haven't watched it yet, but it
I haven't
seems
seen
good.
it either. Yeah.
It's on HBO.
Oh.
Oh, yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
it's-
Good point.
I think it's on Hulu or / Netflix maybe too. It's on one of those.
I want to say Netflix.
Yeah.
Because I don't have Hulu, and I've seen the title card for it.
Yeah.
What else we got? Hey, Death Stranding.
Oh, okay.
I have,
I have no idea
No.
what the world is going
Well, and
on. Well, I mean, you got a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you
What,
mean
put
that?
into what another timeline or another
Ring
like,
Baby or something.
something? Yeah, like I'm going like under.
I was telling Dan that I was excited that we finally got context for the baby.
the-
Like it was like
At
the
least a
baby
little
is
bit.
something, and now
Yeah,
like
it's-
this trailer made no sense, but at least now there's context for
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
why you're doing it, and why this baby like
Seems
exists.
a lot like Ghost. No, Spirits Within.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just sort of invisible things you can't see that will murder you.
Yeah.
Right.
But they need
Wow.
babies in order to see and
In
avoid
order
them.
to- yeah.
So like I think you and I were talking about it because you sent me a video that was like, oh, Death Stranding new trailer explained. And like I get it's Kojima, so he's like kind of off of his rocker just a little bit,
Yeah.
which is why he makes good games. It's whatever.
Yep.
But like there's a certain point, and like they were explaining things in this like video where it's like, oh, explaining the trailer. There's a certain point for me in video games where like not everyone is like a hardcore video game enthusiast. I don't feel like I'm cool with games that make you think and are like, but I don't think that you should have to search outside of the video game for additional content to understand the video game.
Oh, okay.
And that's why
Like-
you don't like Destiny.
Yeah, you're correct. Well, and it's kind of like in the newer Halo games, because like there's something happening. I don't remember because it's been a while
Yeah.
since the newest one came out. But like I read The Fall of Reach, and there's things that they reference in the newest Halo that you would only know about if you read The Fall of Reach. And I'm like, not everyone is gonna know about that. And
Yeah.
like you're not having this consistent, coherent storyline for what if you've only ever played the video games, you're not gonna get this.
Right.
Like it specifically, like even just like a small thing is like so. John is supposed to be the last Spartan,
Yep.
like the person that you play in all the original Halo games.
Yep.
And then you get into the newer ones and they're like, oh, we're Spartans, what's up? And it's like, unless you read any of the books, you're not going to know that like they made more Spartans.
Right.
Like, so I don't know. I think it's
Okay.
going to be a neat looking game, and I think it's cool that it's got Norman Reedus in it, but I'm kind
Yeah.
of like, I'm waiting for it to be a little bit more sensical before I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I was
When it has
just
the guy who directed Wind River. The shit, why can't think of his name?
Pressure.
Yeah,
speaking of Guillermo del Toro, he's
Yeah.
in that game.
do that well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the fighting mechanic in it, I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Like,
Just because it's kind of been like done.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how
It
I felt
looks
too. Like,
Like
The
Horizon.
one thing I'm concerned about, like Metal Gear Solid Phantom 5 joint,
yeah,
it had this pockets. It was like, hey, you would have a whole bunch of shit happening, and then like it would just be like a road of nothing.
like get
And-
to the next pocket. Yeah.
And I don't know. I
There's
don't know, fam.
all
Like,
of the
I'm-
shooter
I'm-
games are like. I
Yeah.
told you guys I was playing Uncharted now through the entire series. It's exactly like that. Like you play
Yeah.
through the area
Yeah.
where there's just movement and a bunch of dialogue, and like
Yeah.
the story progresses, and then you get to the area where it's a climbing section, and then you get to the like,
Yup,
oh, there's cover. Better get ready.
yup,
We're gonna fight
exactly,
now.
Exactly.
And it gets tiring after a while. Like
Yeah.
all
Yep.
of the third-person shooter
All
games
that-
are like
yep.
that.
Yes, sir.
I was really excited to see the trailer finally show like gameplay
Yeah.
more than just like walk around, because I'm not usually a fan of just like walking sims.
I love walking simulators.
If the
You know I
story,
do. Oh,
if
yeah,
the story
absolutely.
is
Fair,
good,
yeah,
if the
yeah.
story
Good
is
point.
good.
Good point. Well, the thing that got me too, that in the Death Stranding joint, I was like, man, how do you? There's no like kind of yellow flashing thing to tell me I'm supposed to use this ladder or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that kind of
The
aspect.
conveyance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how well that works out. Like
yeah.
I'm not a fan of like holding my hand and telling me
Yeah.
what to do. I like the aspect of like make them figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that can like that has
But
like
it
a
has
ceiling.
Yeah.
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 You can
Yeah.
take that too far to where you're just like wasting time.
Yeah. And I do like the fact of how certain stuff you're in third person in one part, and
Yeah,
you're in
yeah,
first
yeah.
person in another part.
Yeah.
That I'm curious to see how they do that, how they construct that and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
There's this interesting concept that I think makes scary movies really good, and I'm gonna tie it back, I promise. Where like the good directors of scary movies are very good at creating these pockets of scary,
Yeah.
like with these mixed in like moments of solitude that kind of chill you out and then
Yeah.
scare you all over again.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's a kind of nuanced thing that like open world games have achieved yet, in which you have these well spaced out like interactions that are these aha moments.
Yeah.
I think they need more kind of short term goals that are still aha moments that kind of break up the monotony of those like empty spaces
Yeah.
while you're waiting to
Agreed.
get to the pockets.
Agreed.
Well, and it's hard with video games in general. If you want to give the player any kind of like agency, it's because the player kind of is ultimately in control of the pace of the game.
Yeah.
So like, even in like a really scary game like Resident Evil 7 or the original Evil Within, like
Yeah.
the player can just sit in one spot for 40 minutes and totally chill out and relax, and then nothing else is scary because they control the pacing.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that's I think one of the
Is that the control is out of.
yeah, it's one of the
Mhm.
obstacles for storytelling in video games, which is hard to overcome. And people are slowly doing it, but it's
I just hope with this one we get like what I like with Zelda Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
exploration.
Yeah.
yeah,
Testing shit out. Like,
Yeah.
I wondered, like, okay, if I want to get to this tower, but there's water right here that I can't swim into,
Yeah.
maybe I can use this other tool to hit this boulder, climb on that joint, and then I shift over there. Type.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this Death Stranding, like, just explore, experiment type of deal.
Well, so far, like the only tools they've shown in the game are like the giant ladder, and at one point he has
Like a
gun.
rope or something like that.
He has a rope.
Yeah, he could like
Oh
grapple
yeah,
down.
there was
from
like a
cliff.
repelling moment.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
rappelled down a cliff at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
so. Oh, and he's got the motorcycle too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The motorcycle does look like really
The-
fun though.
Oh,
It
it
looks
does.
cool. A
It
lot of
does.
He
people say it
pops
looks
up
like
on
Motorcycle
in a
like
wheelie
Akira.
and
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
when he was running away from the like Monsters Inc. like orange suit guys, I was kind of not all
Good
about
point.
that.
Now it's
Okay.
stuck in my
It
head.
was just
Got
like
Yeah.
Noted.
he was just the gameplay just looked like ooh juke this guy
Yeah, like,
and
yeah.
walk
Yeah.
away
Mom!
kind of slowly.
Yeah.
But everything except that looked. I was
Yeah.
down with it.
Yeah.
Monster Inc. Got it. That's not. Nope.
Yeah.
Code Blue Third 22, whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Blue 22.
Yeah, thank
Blue
you.
22.
Please stop the soccer, Mom. I love that movie, dude. That's awesome.
And then what did Kojima? What was the tweet that Kojima made that I saved on the Trello? It's like Norman Reedus
The like
Plays
completely nonsensical.
himself in the game while you're playing. Okay, so Hideo Kojima, Sam as a player also plays as Norman Reedus himself at the same time. So something like Oyama that ruins the game atmosphere won't exist. I don't know what Oyama is. Maybe that would explain it.
Maybe.
But like Sam, the character,
play
is also
as
a player
Sam.
playing a real actor playing
Yeah.
himself.
We
I'm
play
a
as
dude
Sam
dressed as another
playing-
dude, disguised as another dude.
Inception. Doom.
Yeah,
Hit it.
co-directed by Christopher Nolan.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm so like happy that he's at the point where he can tweet this kind of stuff and people are still just like, yep, you know
People
what,
love it.
fine. Like
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
buy
into
your
it.
game anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole like education of game development when I was going through school was all about like you got to be clear about what
Yeah.
when you're talking about your
Yeah.
game. It's got to
Yeah.
be like the most clear you can be about it. Like you can't leave a ton of room for interpretation because
I feel like in
then
the
you'll
beginning,
get
yes.
the wrong
Yeah.
idea
But once
about
you
it.
have like your established type of deal, man, then it's just.
That's
like,
why I think it's
whatever.
awesome that he could just be like,
yeah.
like
and-
people know that he makes good stuff. So
Yeah.
then when you just tweet random garbage like
Right,
this,
right.
people are like, yes,
Yes.
I'm all
Give me
about
that.
it.
Give me that. Yeah. Exactly.
And I think video games are at the point now where as a medium, they're comfortable to have like that like our auteur level of creator. So
Yeah.
like we can have a Lars von Trier of video games, or a Gus Van Sant, or a crazy ass dude who just makes weird ass shit. Meshes of the Afternoon of video games.
Mm.
Say,
I want you bowl to make a video game.
Yeah,
Just cut through the middleman.
yeah, yeah.
well, flip it too. Have you
There'd
guys
be plenty
seen
of
that
celebrities.
that Apple that
The cheese grater.
What?
Oh, no.
The what?
The monitor stand. I was talking about this earlier.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yo.
You were talking
Yeah.
about You were talking about building a computer, and I was gonna tell you today. I was like, "Hey, this monitor is really nice, like extraordinarily nice."
Not a monitor stand.
monitor.
But the caveat is you have to pay $1,000 for the stand.
Woo!
The monitor's only $20, but the stand is
But the
$1,000.
stand is
Yeah.
$999.
It's a really nice monitor. It's like
It's a really
8K,
nice stand too.
But you can get that
What
$900
trips me out, I really gotta
stand.
send you guys a video. It's like as the presenter is talking about this,
They just like,
the
oh,
crowd's like, boo!
Boo this man.
And the presenter stutters. And
Like-
he's like, next presentation,
Whoops.
please.
it made
Well,
sense up
Bob.
until that point. He was like, this monitor is like industry level
Yes,
monitor.
Yeah,
They're like $30,000 monitors. You get it for whatever, and it's like great.
yeah.
And he's like, the mounting like stand is 130. Sure, it's Apple, whatever. Like a little up there, but fine. That's not that bad. The regular run of the mill stand that should be in the box. Give us 1,000. You
Dude.
can have it.
Dude.
Oh,
Just get,
Oh,
buy
no.
a 3D printer instead and
Print your
I
own.
know, right?
yeah.
Put a couple nails in your wall. Just hang it from
Yeah.
some thread.
I don't
Oh my
understand
God.
how, because you gotta go through levels for that. Like to present that had to been in front of like.
He practiced
also
that in
by a
front
lot
of
of
a
people.
ton of people.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
He's like,
Yeah.
there's like a whole
And
bunch of
it's like,
development
yes.
behind this presentation
Yeah.
that people are like, what are you,
You know
talking
what?
about?
This
These
monitor
no.
says it's gonna be
People-
$1,000.
Yeah,
This is
approve
fine.
that
This is fine.
speech. Yeah.
You know,
And-
yeah, approved it.
And the
Yeah.
best part is knowing that all the people in the audience are like Apple employees or like,
Yeah.
press people.
Enthusiasts.
So they like go there knowing that they're going to clap for overpriced stuff. They're
course.
like, oh, we love Apple. But
Yeah.
even then,
Yeah.
it's like,
It's like, oh,
what
It
are
was
you
like an
talking
audience of
about?
Android fanboys.
Yeah, this is an audience of people that like are going to clap for Apple stuff,
Yeah.
no matter what.
matter
It's
what.
like,
But
wait-
even then,
wait a
it's
minute.
like, what are you talking about? This is a stand.
Dude,
Yeah.
Does your stand like make me dinner and read me a story for bed or what?
Should.
I'm paying it. It's like this
$1,000,
stand better
yeah.
pay my rent. Like holy
Yeah.
crap!
Oh my God.
Hmm.
It's a really nice computer though. I'm glad that they're finally making a computer you can open up and upgrade the parts in. Everything except the stand.
Yep.
Really nice. Good going, Apple.
You can upgrade the parts,
Yeah, you can take
Yeah, you
take the case off and
but they don't need to be Apple parts.
I think they might still be
I
Apple
think-
parts, but it's to the point where you don't like void your warranty if you
Oh.
open up the device.
Okay.
Progress.
So you can like, I think you could probably add or take away a bunch of like memory or video cards or,
Okay.
but it's like industrial level.
Yeah.
There's like 4 video cards in it. It's got like
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
96 cores,
How much is
like
the
64
gigs.
gigs of.
How much are they want for that?
I don't know how much you got.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know,
Are you comfortable
you
taking
come
out
out
a
the
second
box.
mortgage?
I've seen what they've done with regular
out the
stuff.
Give us your firstborn child.
Yeah.
They don't need to go to school.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bump that shit. That's out the pocket, dude.
Mm.
Yeah. So
But
if you don't,
yes, $1,000 for
Oh my
a
God.
monitor stand.
Get the stand first.
Get the stand first
And
and
then the
take
monitor
pictures
if you
of
can
it.
afford it.
Because
Exactly.
there's actually shit on like Reddit and whatnot of like Apple
Yeah.
fanboys taking pictures and everything.
Well, that's the only way you're gonna get one.
Damn, seriously, man.
you got to save up
Yeah.
for the computer and the monitor and all that stuff. Then you got to save up separately for the stand.
All right, yo,
Do you
sweet,
absolutely
wifey.
need the stand? Is it required?
I bet you could probably
Let's just do
like,
something other than
prop
hold
open.
it up. Yeah.
You could figure it out.
Like for all I know, there's a proprietary plug
Some
in
kind
it
of
that you
third
need
party
to have or some
the,
shit.
the monitor won't work unless you have
Yeah.
the stand just jamming in some metal into this button.
So rolling back really quick because I dug a little bit more on that Oyama thing.
Oh, okay.
I guess what Kojima was trying to say, right? I still don't know what Oyama means, but like the concept that he was trying to like get across is that Norman Reedus, like Sam as a character, is supposed to be basically Norman Reedus like in personality. So
Okay.
like the acting like portrayal is very authentic. And therefore, like, maybe we're not gonna get like any of those. This feels very like weird and out of character moments.
Where you
because,
just
like,
feel like I'm watching Norman Reedus do a thing.
yeah,
Yeah, gotcha.
That's interesting.
yeah. I feel like
Okay.
it probably could have been worded differently, but like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's
It was-
Kojima, so
Yeah, it was
I
cryptic,
wonder if he has a
and it got
team.
us talking about it.
yeah.
Like a whole nother
Yeah.
like social team. It's like what would be good. Let's fucking with him. Let's go ahead and mess
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
He probably just said something like, "Yeah, Norman Reedus' acting won't be awkward."
Yeah.
And they're like, "How
And
can we make this cryptic and weird?
Yeah.
When we translate it into English?"
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah. Like Norman Reedus plays himself.
yeah.
Wait.
Do it.
Okay.
I'm just surprised by how many like connections he has to
Yeah.
top tier like actors.
Talent. I know.
Like he seems to be like friends with these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how
I
he has all
love-
these guys that are just like, yeah, I'll be in your weird ass game,
Mhm.
I
sure.
love
Like,
how like Norman Reedus and Hideo Kojima are like best friends on Twitter.
yeah.
There's constantly pictures of them like going out to drinks and eating dinner and hanging out and like.
Mm.
That's
it's-
badass.
Well,
Yeah.
him and that other guy too. I feel bad. I don't remember his name. But the guy that plays Hannibal. And
Oh,
he's in the game
he's
too.
in the-
Oh,
he's
yeah.
yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, like him, they're bros,
Is-
and
Yeah.
he's like so like fawning over Mads Mikkelsen,
I know.
whatever his name is, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like it's
I know.
I'm not like one of those people that thinks that because someone is famous, like they don't like have relationships similar to like they're still people, but still to see it like visually play out in such a way, like
Yeah.
he talks about Mads Mikkelsen, like talk about my best friend Elaine, like look at her, she's
Yeah.
like amazing, like so it's just very weird because it's like you're Hideo Kojima, like what are you sure like
So like something I've found like following a lot of comic book writers and artists on Twitter is like there are totally comic book romances between like writers and artists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
like Tom King,
Agreed.
Mitch Gerads, and Scott Snyder, and oh fuck, who is Scott Snyder's artist? Is it no? But like, yeah, there's like teams that like work together for books and books and books, and are
Yeah.
constantly like propping each other up.
Yep.
yeah.
And it's really funny.
Yep. Brew Baker and Sean Phillips are the same
Yes.
way too.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was
So
at
what is
McKay's
the-
the other day and I saw their name together.
Oh,
a bunch of
oh my
them.
god. Yeah.
Is it so is the bad guy in the Death Stranding, is he supposed to be like the devil or something? Like what is he supposed to
Ah, who knows?
So based
Because,
on
because
that,
it was kind of badass at the end.
Yeah.
How like like his skull friends were all like all on fire. And
Yeah.
It was like
Where he's like,
But like he was in World War II or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, like I
yeah,
think
from
the
tanks.
gist is you can like. I might be completely off here, but I think the gist is that like humanity's like sins stay.
okay.
Like
but
people
in that,
will
like,
die.
underworld
Yeah,
kind
like
of
people will
Oh.
die and the time goes on. But whenever we've committed
what-
like atrocities, that stays. Like it leaves a
Got
mark
it.
on time or
Okay.
something.
and he's kind of like this entity that like
That
embodies
is-
those
yeah.
sins.
And
So
he
not-
can like pull them
Ooh,
back
awesome.
from it.
Okay.
Like, He
Yeah.
can be like, okay, World War One was awful. Here's
Here's-
these sins.
yeah,
Like
yeah. No,
Like,
no, no. I
World
think
War
you
Two,
That's
World
cool.
War
Go
One
ahead,
guys.
Cole.
Yeah.
Okay. that's
Flexing.
cool.
Go ahead, dude.
If the story's anything cool, if the story's anything like that, I'll be completely into it.
I mean, if it's,
I'll take my
if it's by
royalty check,
Hideo
too.
Kojima,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
It's probably about the horrors of war if it's by Hideo Kojima.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
What is this
excited
one
for like.
Good question, fam.
That's a good question. I'm just excited for something that's like
Is it
time
November? I think
travel
it's
but
November.
done well.
Yeah.
If it's like time travel that's in a much less look how cool time travel
Yeah.
is and more of
Yeah.
like here's
Here's
a
the-
tool of a much bigger like
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah.
Like if the theme is still like human atrocities and sins and stuff, but time travel is just the
Yeah.
method
But-
they
yeah.
use to show that,
Yeah.
that'll be much more interesting than just, oh look, it's time travel.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yo, November's gonna be a big joint. Like the Stadia
Yeah.
joint, the Call of
Yeah,
Duty,
oh
and
my
then if
God.
we're right with the Death Stranding,
I just saw a tweet from someone that was like, I kind of hope that, Animal Crossing gets delayed because the end of the year is already so jam packed
Yeah.
of like,
there's a new story of seasons
good
coming out at the
games.
end of the year too, isn't there?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just the end of this year is so jam packed of
With a
a
whole
bunch of
bunch
big
of
releases
stuff,
already.
dang,
Pokemon Direct came out. When's the like Sword
Yes.
and Shield?
That comes
coming
out in like November.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
that's
god.
November too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pokemon
Okay.
Sword and Shield.
Ah,
Which looks
And
really
it's
crazy.
the
It looks
first
kinda
main
crazy.
series
It's-
game
okay.
on a console,
Yeah.
and they added a like third person camera, which has
Yeah.
never been done in that
Okay.
series.
I love
so
the like full 3D battles. That
Yeah.
looks
so
cool.
hold on. Can you play? A stupid question, come, but like, honest question. Can you play with other people on this one type
So
of
the
deal?
way that they have it is they have like these open. It's so far from what they showed in the direct. They have like these open world areas,
Okay.
and within them there are like these raids.
you can
Yeah.
do like
and you
raid
can
battles.
do like raid
Yeah.
battles
Got it.
with
Okay.
friends, kind of thing.
Can I like, hey, Cole got some boss ass shit or whatever?
Oh,
Can
I'm
he
sure.
can he share with me?
I'm
type?
sure that they
Oh,
probably
okay.
That's
have.
been a staple of Pokemon for like a long time.
Yeah.
Alright, bet.
Yeah.
There's always been like online battling. You can always like battle your friends, but I
Yeah.
think this is a like raid boss kind of.
Got it.
As much
Are
as
they gonna
Pokemon
break
can
it up
have
though?
raid
Kind of like the
bosses.
Sun and Moon and some other jazz.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
is it- Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
it's
always
Sword
going to
and
be
Shield.
two games.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm
They're releasing a
learning.
bundle this time, so
Yeah,
they
we're
know
gonna
that
just
people
buy
will just
both
buy
of them.
both. So
Oh my god.
you could
What's
get
the-
both of them.
the legendary Pokemon in this one, they're both like wolves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both
And
Is
dogs.
that the one with the
One is a
sword in his
shield-
mouth
yeah,
or
it's
something?
the-
Yeah,
Okay.
and then one has like
alright.
a shield
Yeah.
like on its face.
Yeah, I was like,
like
that's kind of weird.
The one
But,
with the shield like kind of
Like-
makes sense, and the other one's just carrying a
Just
sword
carrying a
around all the
sword, yeah.
time.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna train my dog to like carry around a little plastic sword.
You're like, hey, look,
Yeah.
he's a Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Halloween's
It's-
gonna be
it's
awesome. You're
Navis and
walking
Mons.
your
Yeah,
dog.
he's like, put on my costume.
I was talking to Cole, and I feel like since maybe Sun and Moon, I might be missing a version, but I feel like they've got this like style sheet for legendary Pokemon since Sun and Moon that's like, okay, they must be mainly white, they must have a primary color, and they must have like gold accents.
And they must be like
wow, yeah,
completely
you're right.
over the top and like,
yeah,
weird
Well, I mean,
geometrical
they're legendary They're legendary.
additions.
yeah, but there was like, I don't know, like they're not bad, but the Sword and Shield ones, they're kind of funky looking.
Yeah,
and
they
like
are.
I get like they had to push it in a certain way to make them kind of connected to their things.
Yeah.
But like thinking back to the legendary Pokemon when I was like a kid, like they
Oh my
were
God.
cool. And like the designs were cool, you
Yeah.
know, and like these aren't bad, but I'm just kind of like they're kind of
Well,
weird. Like
they
they
didn't-
don't.
They seem
Well,
kind of
They
safe.
didn't.
Yeah.
They
like,
didn't
before,
used to like make the legendaries relate to the title of the game.
Yeah.
Like Sword and Shield
That's true.
doesn't. An X and Y, the legendaries are like an X and
Yeah,
a Y.
And why, yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that. Like in Gold
Right.
and Silver, Ho and Lugia weren't like gold and silver. Or
No.
like
Yeah.
Okay, sick.
they all of a sudden they jumped the kind of like we got to take this kind of literally and
Yeah.
make them a sword and a shield or an
Yeah.
X and a Y or
Are they still doing new?
a sun and a moon.
Another
Yeah.
like, are they still doing like cartoons? And
Oh yeah, the
things?
anime is still going.
Ash has
Oh,
been
yeah.
11
Gosh, that's
for like 20 years.
Cash cow, pal.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they're pumping out movies every year too, and they're like pretty
Well-
good still.
Oh my
every
God.
Well, I think the detective joint that did pretty good.
oh yeah, that
right?
was
Yeah, Detective
that was
Pikachu.
fine.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
the-
okay.
I got you.
It was
But,
visually it was awesome.
Yeah,
Like
see,
if you're like
I saw
a
the concept work for some of the that was pretty.
if
boss.
you're like a nerd
Yeah.
for it and you have like the nostalgia of Pokemon,
You'll
then they
dig it.
kept it super faithfully.
Gotcha.
So then
Okay.
you appreciate like they kept the visuals and they just made it look like it belonged in a live action
Done.
kind of world.
done. That's smart.
They,
The story
That's a good-
was
That's a good.
it was
Yeah. That's what's up though.
yeah,
So-
go for it.
Get one of them sperm bears, man. Do it. I'm sorry. That's the last time I'm gonna say it.
It tastes just
uh-huh.
like it.
Oh no!
That's the secret ingredient.
Protein. Let's go.
Oh my
Where you went there.
Yes, you did.
I didn't
Abby is
I'll,
so
uh,
regretting
as a
this.
collection.
I'll take some of that right there, please, while we're on this conversation.
You want some ice? or- You
no.
want some? You want some water?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
They also I don't remember the last game that was on a handheld. Was it? No, it was
No.
the islands. It was.
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
It was
Was
Sun.
that Sun and Moon?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
On the island? On
Yeah,
on
on
Johto?
Alola.
Oh yeah,
Alola. Yeah.
With the annoying girl.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Areola. What?
no, Alola. Like Hawaii.
Like Hawaii.
Okay, got
like,
it. All right, I'm there. I'm getting there.
They,
Yeah,
like,
sure.
They started the new.
Love you too, Cole.
I'm telling your wife.
Okay.
She already did.
They like
He's an
started
idiot.
they started the animated series for Alola, and like it's still very much kind of in the vein of what the original style was, but they like switched. I don't know if they switched animation houses or something, but like even though like they're all visually very similar
Yeah.
characters, it looks
The
very
visual
different
style
from, like,
changed pretty
I
dramatically.
saw
Yeah.
it and I didn't like
It switched
Yeah.
from like the '90s, like kind of jagged
Yeah.
anime style to much more
Oh,
rounded out.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
nice if you're not like married to the style.
I grew up
Yeah.
on like the 90s anime.
Yeah,
stuff,
so
to
it's
me,
like, You get
no.
that kind of weird switch. I think they
Yeah.
also kind of like soft rebooted like the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know though. I haven't watched that show in.
My sister
long
started
time.
rewatching like the original Pokemon.
It doesn't
Well,
hold
no.
up. I can
No,
say
She's
from
like,
experience.
oh my god, Pikachu is such an asshole.
Yeah, I tried. It was on Netflix for a while, and I
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
rewatch that whole series. Oh god,
You
no.
alright?
Yep, I got you. So hold on. The new Ash though, he has like some kind of like mustache, like a catfish or something. No.
No.
Is that
No.
right? Okay. All right.
No.
He's still a 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Is it okay? Well, no,
Say
it's-
catfish?
Like obviously
well,
the
the way
generations.
it's drawn, from what I've seen, my kids watch. It confused me.
Like obviously the generations that watched it are like growing up, and
Yeah.
and if I'm gonna watch an anime at this point, I'm not gonna watch Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I really wish that Ash was out.
Like,
Okay.
like he's been 11.
A new character.
Yeah,
He's
been
got his
11
got
for
his
like
like
20
cheek
years.
lines.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And I'm just
all right.
like, where, and like, you know, he's got the new like companions or whatever, and then every once in a while they'll bring back an old one that's like, oh hey Ash, look at all the shit that I've been doing,
Right.
you know.
I got it.
But at the same time, I'm just like, I really wish Ash was out. Like,
How long has it been?
he's not a Pokemon master
The game
yet.
came
Come
out-
on.
The
It's
game
taking you
came
20
out
years, you might just
in
wanna give up.
95
Okay.
in Japan, came out
Okay.
in America in 96. I know all this because I'm proud that I was born
No.
on the same year as
Ah.
Pokemon.
Gotcha.
96, and the anime probably started at like what, 99?
Jeez.
I don't
You were born in '96, son?
know. My God.
Fair enough. All right.
That's where you stop listening.
Same year as the 64 and Pokemon Red and Blue.
Gotcha.
So plus some months,
Gotcha.
but you're only a year younger than me then, because you're gonna turn 23 this year, right?
In August.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
Rotary phones.
Babies on the
and-
show.
and tracks. Oh my God.
Man, Tyke,
Didn't
you were
know.
still like riding horses to work, huh?
Dude, seriously, yeah, man.
Back when you were in
Back
school.
in my day. Walking to school. in the
Uphill both
snow.
ways for our
Oh my
Pokemon.
God.
You had to turn the knob on your
Had
TV.
to, dude, not the knob. I had to get pliers.
Oh, yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
The knob's
yeah.
just for the first year.
Dude, yeah.
Then it's tools.
Let's get real for a second.
Yeah, man.
Warm up the house by
At least
Turn
I
the oven on.
remember like
Remote's
pre-touch
recorded.
screen.
yeah, had the bunny antennas.
I love
yeah.
watching those
Yeah.
videos of kids that don't know that screens existed prior to like touch screens.
Yeah.
So you hand them like a Game Boy or something,
Yeah.
they're poking at these
Yep.
screens.
Yeah.
There's this talk that goes on a lot, and like obviously you guys are part of it too, but like we're kind of like at the butt end of like kids that remember life without like as much technology as there is today.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's this like weird like disconnect that a lot of like in this generation have, because like we remember that like we didn't grow up with like iPads and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like I still had a cassette tape player in my room when
Oh,
I was
yeah,
a kid.
see.
So
Yeah.
'Cause even Kai, he was in 2000,
hmm
but for him, he really didn't know what a cassette
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a VCR. He had no
I
idea
can't
what that was.
imagine, like-
We still have a VCR player.
Yep.
So my brother was
Oh my
born
God.
in 2000, but he wouldn't get by without knowing what a. We have all the like Disney tapes
Yes!
still.
That's what I'm
I
talking
have
about.
my parents have so many Disney tapes at their house. Like nobody has a VCR anymore.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
grandparents don't, but
I wish I had one because I have the Sailor Moon movie on VHS.
Nice.
But like,
Nice.
I'm pretty sure my sister still has the Ranma 1/2 movie. Maybe both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. When Neo Geo, those games used to be $100
Yeah.
a pop or something like that.
Yeah.
All right then. All right, fair
Well,
enough.
like,
So-
no.
yeah, so Neo Geo with that joint.
Yeah.
That was like this
$100 for one game,
unnecessarily
fam?
expensive for rich kids system.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did.
Exactly. I remember there was some game show that I can't recall, and I remember always the top winner would get that damn Neo Geo.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name
Some
of this.
Nickelodeon show or something?
I can't recall pimping, but like it was just like I wanted it, but I knew damn well I
Yeah.
couldn't afford that joint.
It was a
So,
brilliant idea.
Yeah.
The games that would work on a portable and a
And
home
a-
console.
Yeah.
Yep.
there's this like kind of interesting thing that like kind of going back to what you're saying, like this idea of like how much games are kind of improving and how we can't really tell like where they're gonna be like even 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And how like obviously most of us, if not all of us, I'm sorry Tyke, I don't know exactly what you went to school for but like we have a background in video game design.
I'm a black guy.
That's what he went to school for.
Animation. I thought it was animation, but I didn't want to say animation. Like I don't know if it's for video games. Oh my God, Tyke, please. You're giving me all of them today, aren't you? I wasn't sure if yours was game design or animation. I figured it was animation, but I didn't want to say so.
It's multimedia development. but
Multimedia,
it's all
okay.
good. I couldn't make up my mind.
Okay.
Continue.
But like, so we understand, but like, so BioWare is like by and far my favorite like game company because I like really
Yeah.
heavy narrative games, and they have like games about space and like games about medieval shit, which is like my shit. I have friends, and like the original Dragon Age game, like it's really fun.
Yeah.
There are parts of it I like can't stand, but it's really fun.
but I can also look at that game and be like, oh, that game was made what, like 10 years ago at this
least,
point,
I think so, yeah.
and like can accept that like the faults that it has is based on the fact that it was made 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I have other friends that will play and are like, this is a shit game, and it's like, well, because you're comparing it to the newest Dragon Age that came out, and you're not like for the time it came out, it was like insane. And I know that like for the general public, like they play, and like kind of going back to what you're saying about your kids, like they play these games and they're not kind of in the same way that those newer games are, because they didn't have those things that back then. And it's not necessarily that makes them bad games, it's just they're games of their time.
That was
know?
the state of the media at the time. Yeah, it's like watching old movies. You're like, wow, like Citizen Kane is a really boring movie.
Yeah.
But like that was, and like it's missing a lot of like it established a lot of standards, but it's also missing a lot of modern standards. It's like because it was made in like 1940 something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It still goes back to even seeing like your own portfolio work.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Seeing something that you did like, I don't know, back in
when you were like 17.
Like, yo, this
yeah.
Yeah.
Now you look at it like, ooh.
Nope.
Yeah.
Hide
This is
that.
some garbage.
Delete that from the internet.
Yeah.
This never existed.
Get
What?
Get that out of here. But that's what I love about our medium too. Is like, I don't know for you guys, but for me, I always want to improve. I always want to be better.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
You can play some good.
Well, and I draw a lot too, and when I was in college, it would always be like, especially with my friend Elaine, I'll talk about her a lot probably because she's like my best friend. You know, yeah. But like she's a sequential art major, so like her whole thing is drawing and like technique and style and blah blah blah. And I'm like a video game person. Like I like to draw. I draw a bunch, but like my major isn't something that has me like doing art a bunch of the time. And so it would always be like her art is really good. My art compared to Elaine's art isn't really that great. But like it's one of those things where like you can't compare yourself because you're never gonna grow, but at the same time like you never stop growing. There's never gonna be a point in like art where you reach that point where you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't need to grow anymore. And if you do, you're not like doing it right.
Yeah.
I feel like off on a tangent though, like I think once you're able to create something that you have an idea in your head and you're able to get it on paper or whatever kind of medium, that is key. That's the ideal. Yeah. And I'm learning more. Like I used to always think like, oh, you gotta have like the best render, or it has to be the prettiest or whatever. But now it's more like storytelling. Like if you can tell the best story, oh my gosh, just your leaps and bounds against the market and stuff like that.
I think too, like with video games now too, especially with the democratization of games and indie games, it's like you don't need the prettiest graphics at all. If you can deliver the most interesting experience, the best story, like is it No Code's Stories Untold?
Yeah,
like the entire like 25% of the game is a text adventure.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Yeah. And like text adventures haven't been in vogue for like 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
Yep.
My the like kind of game design professor, because there were only like 3 in the school, so you ended up taking them a lot. I had this one professor, his name was Gouchard, and his whole thing was like, if you have a game with like really high graphic fidelity but like shitty experience, people are going to play it once and they're never going to want to play it again, because like it looks nice, I've seen everything the first time I play it. But if you have a meaningful like gameplay experience, whether that be like narrative or just in mechanics alone that like up the replayability, but you have shitty graphics, people are still going to come back because they're coming back for the experience of the gameplay.
Yeah, good point. 'Cause I'm definitely doing that with just like even Monster Hunter or God of War or even Horizon. Yeah, like just seeing the environment in there. It's freaking amazing. Good shit.
Did y'all ever see the tech demo of how Horizon did their environment?
No.
Like
Don't do it, Cole.
AAA open world games are crazy now because they can't obviously have all those assets active at once.
Yeah.
And just completely destroy the render and the engine.
Oh, the frustrum culling, you mean?
Yeah, the way Horizon did it, and I think kind of the standard now is they measure their camera view. And they have very clear-cut boundaries on the view of their camera. And so as you're rotating the camera, it's activating and deactivating objects, game objects, and terrain and everything, like real time. So they had this cool tech demo where they had a dev camera way out back, like in the sky, for the entire environment, and they were moving the main character around and showing the environment just like despawning as it rotated. Super cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Have you guys played that? Have you played Horizon?
Yeah.
Oh, Horizon is so
it's a beautiful game. But
yeah.
I mean, I have the PlayStation, but I just haven't played.
Before you leave, I'm giving it to you.
I think the
Just
last
take it. It's awesome.
the last game that I played on my PlayStation was probably Bloodborne. It was either Bloodborne or it was Mass Effect 3. Whichever of those two came out, or not Mass Effect 3.
Andromeda?
Inquisition, the Dragon Age.
Oh, okay.
Whichever
Mass
one of
Effect
those came
Inquisition,
out,
what?
yeah.
Wait a minute, what?
We're crossing over here.
Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Final Fantasy 17.
Yeah. Whichever one of those came
Make it happen.
out most recently is what I played.
Mega Man X2.
Exactly. And it's just because like I got so busy.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
with school and stuff. I don't know if I've told you guys the story, but like with finals, because of the fact that it was like 10-week rotations for quarters. Like
yeah.
so finals, it was the last 2 weeks of school. It was go to bed at 10 p.m., wake up at midnight, work again for the entire day until 10 p.m. the next day for like the entire week until finals. 2 weeks until finals were over.
I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Midnight, then work the entire day.
Yeah.
That was like my grad program.
Yeah. Because like. And there were like outlying factors, like the groups that I were in were like great about doing deadlines and that kind of thing. So there were kind of additional factors, but like that was the schedule, and so it sucks because like in a lot of ways, like one of the big things that like in a lot of art people talk about is like exposing yourself to those art things like makes you a better artist and gives you that like space to like think creatively.
Yeah.
So it sucks that you kind of lose it in like your search of completing a degree for creative stuff, but like. It just was one of those things. Although when Inquisition came out, I did like finish all of my finals like projects like a week early, so that I could all nighter play my video games and then just go into class and turn them in and be done.
Nice. Nice.
Done.
Yeah.
And now
video
here,
games.
go ahead.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, and now what you're gonna look forward to is like you fall asleep
Now I get to play video
and
games.
Yeah.
fall asleep at like
No, you
10:30.
fall asleep. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Well,
9 p.m. is my game time.
Not yet.
10:30.
Not yet.
You
I'm
get to
still
fall asleep
going.
thinking about texting your friend
Yeah.
to play a video game.
Yeah, I'm still going midnight. Like I still got it in me. I'm still going to like midnight, but
nice.
it's so nice like now because now it's like if I wake up at 7:30 and I'm like or like 6:30, I'm like I don't really want to be awake right now. I can just go back to bed and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing keeping me from like playing video games anymore, which is really
Appreciate it.
nice.
It's only limited time.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can.
Oh yeah.
Oh, most certainly.
Oh yeah.
Getting a video game degree is so weird because it's like playing video games is research for your degree,
Yeah.
but it's also something you shouldn't be doing because you
Exactly.
have projects to do.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
don't
wait a
have
minute.
time for it.
Yeah, but you should be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really funny though, cause like senior year, the first quarter that I did that, like you know, you go like 2 weeks, you don't get to play any video games,
Yeah.
and I like just wanted to play video games with my friends, so like the quarter ended, and I was like, I want to play League of Legends. They're like, Abby, you need to sleep. Like you've had like what, like 10 hours of sleep for the entire week, and I'm like, I just want to play a game of League of Legends, and it got
It's
to the
important
point.
academically.
Exactly, and it got to the point that we would be sitting there, and I would like, you can like path your character to go to somewhere on the map, and I would like click it, and I would fall asleep, and I would like my friends would like yell at me, and
Yeah,
I'd like
I'll do
wake
that.
up, and I'd like be where I needed to be on the map, and I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
I've done that shit many times.
Yeah.
It's like you're snoring. Huh?
What?
What happened? No, I'm good. What are you talking about? I'm still at the top.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's fine.
What else we got? Is anyone playing anything interesting? Oh wait. Okay. Did anyone ever have an Ouya?
No.
Okay.
What? Yeah. What's the deal now?
That was like the console that was supposed to. It was supposed to be a console that
Oh,
played
right.
like Android games.
Is that the Kickstarter thing
Why?
or something
Yeah.
like that?
It just
Yeah.
like connected.
When I
to
have an
Google Play
Android,
Store.
why do I want to play Android games on a
So like
Really?
came out.
It just connects to the Google
God,
Play
you guys,
Store.
you guys were probably like in junior high when
It was
when the
a-
idea came out.
It was an ARM processor, right?
I don't know. I think so.
The
But
Ouya?
like, I think it was before like PSN and Xbox Arcade allowed indie games on their thing.
Okay.
So the idea was like, oh, there's all these indie developers making somewhat shitty games for Android phones.
Okay.
Let's give them the opportunity to put them on the big screen.
No, I remember.
And it failed hard. Like it got their Kickstarter goal, and like they made enough machines to deliver on their Kickstarter that like nobody ever bought. one
They had their own
afterwards.
controllers and everything too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm vaguely
It's
remembering.
like a lot of it sounded cool. They're like, oh yeah, they're like, well, we're gonna like make it a requirement for like to sell a game on the store. You have to have a demo because like at the time, demos weren't really a thing anymore.
It was like Wild Wild West for
Yeah.
like app games.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I remember demo disc from when I was a kid, and that was a cool way to see if you liked the game before you dropped like $50 on it.
Yeah.
And then just like, it never happened. I guess because
Yeah.
like PSN started accepting indie games, and like Unity's like, fuck yeah, we'll publish to PSN and
Wow.
Xbox and
Yeah, that'd
Android
kill
and
it.
Apple.
That'd
And
kill it.
Well, and
Yeah.
it seems like one of those like good in theory, not necessarily an application things. Like,
yeah.
Did it last long at all? Like, did it only last for like a year or something like that?
Well,
or-
apparently the store just closed like a month ago.
Oh.
I had no idea it was still open, and like
Ah.
people were still using.
How much did they want for this shit? Like, I wonder.
It wasn't that
Do
expensive.
you?
I think it was like $100, wasn't it?
It could be a lot just because it's old and rare.
Oh,
Like,
now,
not because it's good. Oh, at the time, probably about
$100.
$100.
$100.
Probably about $100. It wasn't expensive. The idea
No.
was to be cheap for everyone
Yeah.
to buy it.
It was supposed. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a cheap,
like accessible.
casual, accessible thing.
Yeah.
You play. Yeah.
Done.
You weren't dropping $300 on a
Right.
PlayStation 4.
It just ran Android games, right?
Only Android games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Which was like their whole thing.
Yeah.
Because like at the time, I guess Android was trying to be like the darling of indie games.
Well,
Yeah.
And then it
smartphones
wasn't.
really hadn't taken off like they are now.
Smartphones.
Smartphones.
Or Spark.
Oh,
whatever.
no.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
Do you guys play a lot of games on your phone though? Yeah.
I played. What's
thought-
the game development
genuine-
tycoon? I've been playing that, and that's.
Yeah, and yeah.
But I never play a game for more than like a week before I uninstall it.
Right.
And say I'm done with this.
I mean, I used to do Boom Beach.
Yeah, I remember that. We
And
all
I
did
kind
Boom
of
Beach.
fell off
Oh,
after that.
yeah.
Like I was heavy into Boom Beach, had to get my shit. But then now, like the Filmic Pro, like I'm using more those kind of apps
Yeah.
for my phone
Well, I
versus
feel
actual games.
like games on
Yeah.
the Android on the phone don't give me the experience that I feel is valuable.
Yeah.
Like I don't always feel. There's some video games that I feel like I'm just wasting time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of Android
Like time
games.
to, yeah.
And some games I don't. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a storyline. I'm getting experience. I'm getting ideas for like my own
Yeah.
projects
Right.
or whatever, you know. And same thing with like watching movies. Some I feel just like, okay, I'm rewatching Frasier. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just wasting time. But like I'm watching a new movie, I feel like that's progressing my
I got you.
media consciousness.
I feel like Android games are much more accessible to people that aren't like hardcore gamer people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I know that there's like one game on my computer that I use, or on my phone now, that I use like religiously, and it's mainly because like they have login dailies. But like
Okay.
past that, unless there's like an event in it, it's Fate and it's a gacha game. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
past like logging in for the daily, unless there's an event going on, I don't really touch it anymore.
I got you.
And I did used to play them a lot, but I feel like almost like the Switch kind of stopped that.
Yeah.
Because I would use like the app games when I was like on a long trip and I didn't have anything else to like entertain me. Then
Yeah.
it's like I have, and there are a few games on here that I would even recommend to you guys. There's like one that's called like the Card Thief or something.
Okay.
And there's like two of them that I have on here that are made by the same people, and the mechanics are really good, and that's like what keeps me coming back to them.
Yeah.
But like if I have my Switch with me or something else, like I'm not gonna touch the ones on
I
my
got you.
phone
I
because
got you.
like. I can, with a handheld, even if I
Yeah.
have my like 3DS with me, I can have such a different experience compared to
yeah.
having
Well,
a
you got
phone.
someone- yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even like the 2DS, like, okay, I can play Pokemon or like get on the store and
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 4.
That's it.
Mhm.
I had Final Fantasy 4 for the phone, and like, it's just not designed for touch controls. If a
Mhm.
game isn't designed with touch controls explicitly in mind, it's so bad.
yeah.
Got you.
Which is why like the Steam Steam Stream.
Steam Stream, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't a fan. I'm like trying to play the Forest with touch controls on my phone.
Yeah.
This,
Oh,
is,
no.
this is not working.
It's not what it's. Yeah.
No.
Well, I tried playing that other what's that joint? That battle royale joint with player.
Battleground.
Oh,
Same thing, I'm getting
Player
there.
Unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried doing that
Yeah.
on the mobile.
It's so
Yeah.
unintuitive.
First-person shooter on a mobile, man.
I tried, fam. I did.
It
I really
wasn't
did.
bad.
But-
I didn't mind it until like I got this weird push notification that was all Chinese characters. I'm like, yeah, nope.
Yeah, see.
Uninstall this.
Well, and I think, and maybe it's different now, but I know that like with Fortnite with their mobile game, originally they were putting you in matches with people on PC.
Oh my
And
god.
it's like it's
Oh
not
my- why
comparable.
would they?
Like
Yeah,
how could you
like-
you're not ever gonna beat someone that's sitting at a
Oh,
mouse
you
and
play
keyboard.
guard? Yeah,
like
okay,
it's not
alright.
unless
No,
you're
no,
like
no.
an Android
Yeah.
app prodigy. Like you're
Yeah.
never gonna be as good as someone on a mouse and keyboard.
Damn.
Like
Maybe they just did it just to say they could do it.
Well, and like,
But at the same time, that doesn't
ooh, everyone wants cross-platform. There
Yeah.
you go. Whoa,
but that's
nope,
not the
like
cross
that.
But
platform
that's not-
that I
no,
want.
You misunderstood. Please.
Yeah, see.
Mm.
I'll say, okay, off on like when you guys watch movies, do you guys sometimes find yourself like, how did they shoot that, or how did
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I
'Cause,
mean,
like-
I almost got into film school, so
Done.
absolutely I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's recently just happened, but I'm like paying more attention to cuts.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
how even like color theory and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Just really curious and stuff like that. Like the color choices that the director chose, or whoever
Yeah.
the head for videography or whatever did that shit. So sorry, I'm sorry, my words.
I'm like super into practical effects because
Yes. Yeah.
when I first started college, so
Yeah.
originally when I started college, I wanted to be an animation major, but I wanted
Okay.
to be 2D animation, and the year I started college is the year that Disney closed their 2D animation studio.
Damn.
So I was like, oh, I don't want to be in animation anymore. So it was either I was going to be a VisFX person or a
Okay.
game design person, and so I took all the minor classes for them so that I
Okay.
could decide which one. So I'm really into practical effects.
Yeah.
Like I know that we've talked about like The Fall with Lee
Mhm.
Pace in it.
Oh my God.
The like original Lord of the Rings films, like the practical
How they-
effects
yeah.
in those are fucking wild.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in those, especially when you like look. I like looking at newer films that, and like almost all of them rely so heavily on 3D,
Yeah.
CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Like I like to kind of look
Well-
at them sometimes and think about like how could that be done practical effects
Yeah.
Okay.
as opposed to like.
Well, that recent video, it was new for me, but I guess maybe it was old. That one with Christopher Nolan, like how he
yeah.
Yeah.
he shoots with no monitor.
Yeah.
He shoots just,
Just
and,
looking
like
through the camera.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like his stage, like how he sets all that. It's all.
Yeah.
It's not if he's like, hey, if I can go ahead and not do CG on it, that
Yeah.
amazes the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing, that's the kind of inspiration that I like.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, if I get the chance to work with that cat and I can just like sponge off of what he has to feed, oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Oh my God.
that
Yeah.
that's a treat. That's a ride for me right there.
Well, like the Fall, I watched the like behind the scenes thing for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It-
took
it-
like
it is.
7 years for them to film
Yeah.
because everything is on location.
Yeah.
And it's like I get that it took 7 years to film, but like what an amazing movie that they got from
Yeah.
doing that. And
Pro-
I'm not
yeah.
like ragging on CGI because CGI is amazing and people do amazing work.
Well, I think
But like
it's a crutch sometimes.
CGI doesn't age well.
Yeah.
No.
It's never
Yeah.
going to age well
No, it
because
doesn't.
because as technology evolves, CGI evolves, and
Yeah.
so movies that come out 5 years from now are going to look
They're
so
gonna-
much better,
Yeah.
and they're
right.
going to be dated.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do about it. But practical effects, they're not. Unless you're doing like blood bags or something, you know.
Right,
There's
right.
there's very few things
Yeah.
in practical effects that are dated because you're seeing like real life things.
I mean, it depends what you mean by practical. Like Ray Harryhausen's stuff looks dated.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look realistic,
Yeah.
but on like the thing
Yeah.
still holds up really well.
I'll say that. What was it, the trail of Godzilla?
Mm.
The new one?
Which
the
one?
new joint. Dude.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta ping that to you. It's
Okay.
Yeah, CG on that, it looks
Okay.
badass.
Is this the picture you were talking about with them
Yeah,
all
it is
taking
exact.
pictures?
Oh
of
my
the
god!
studio?
Hold on! I got-
Oh no! It's the
What are we
picture of the
looking at?
stand.
This one though, I saw
There's like
this.
a meme, and it's got the like
got
stand,
the-
and then there's like a picture of.
I
a
didn't see
comic
that
book
bottom
with, like,
joint,
a
dude.
picture.
That's awesome.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
like you can see the Apple boys or whatever. Like they all have the Apple watches. They
Yeah.
all man, get the fuck out of here, son.
They all have their iPhones and iPads
And
taking their pictures.
Dude, I remember the one time I was like, all right, bet. I had I think it was iPad 2 or something. I remember being at the graduation or something. And I remember holding it up as my son was getting ready to graduate from 3rd grade to 4th grade. And I was like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No,
There's
you're a
such
parent.
I always.
Those are the only people I've ever seen take pictures with an iPad.
I always love those conversations that like border on conspiracy theory about like how loyal people are to like brands like Apple.
Right.
That like border on this like the Church of Apple kind of thing where
Gotcha.
people are so loyal to them, despite the fact that they're fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like I had no problem dropping Apple to go to an Android phone, but like it's so interesting that whenever that like conversation comes up to like how loyal people are for Apple and how like Apple has fostered this community of
Yeah.
people
Yep,
that are
this
like
cult- yeah.
this cult of Apple kind
Yeah.
of thing, and it's so interesting to me whenever
Well-
the conversation comes up.
What's crazy nowadays too, for like your basic video editing and stuff like that. It used to be, oh, you want to get the Apple, you want to get the Apple. Now it's
No.
not the case.
No.
Nah. PC is
Final
just
Cut used to be
The go-to.
standard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now like Vegas premiere.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
I tapped.
I
Punch
tapped.
the table.
I wasn't supposed to tap. I'm sorry.
Uh,
I can't pass go. I don't get $200. Nope.
Alright, so has anyone been playing or watching or listening to anything interesting this week?
So, Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
I know that I've talked to you guys about it a few times,
Yeah.
but they launched their PTB
Which is
for the player testing
okay.
like round. And so they recently had their 3-year anniversary for the game.
Okay.
And they talked about a bunch of new things that they're doing to fix the game, to like evolve it, like
Okay.
new killers that are coming. And I think I've told you guys they're on like a 3-month release cycle. So the most recent thing that's coming out, and they have what they call chapters, and chapters are every 6 months if I'm not mistaken, and they come with a new killer and a new survivor. And then
Cool.
kind of intermittently between that, they'll have these things that they call paragraphs, which
Okay.
are just either just a survivor or just a killer.
Okay.
So they're coming out with a new paragraph, and it's Ghostface from
Oh, yeah.
from Scream, which is really cool. But his whole concept is so he like can sneak, and one of the big mechanics of the game, for anyone that doesn't know, is the killer has like a heartbeat radius. And if you are close to them within a radius, and depending on the killer, it's unique to each killer. Like Michael Myers, his whole thing is he stalks people, so he has a really small radius, so you don't know he's stalking you when he's doing it.
Right.
Okay.
The Ghostface whole thing is he can like crouch, and when he's crouched, he doesn't have a radius, and then he can kind of lean around corners and like stalk people.
Okay.
And if he stalks them for a certain amount of time, they get an exposed effect, which means that if he hits them once, they immediately go down, which normally if you'd have to hit them twice. The problem with this is, and this again is on the PTB, is that if a survivor looks at him, whether it be the one he's stalking or any other one, it like stops his power.
Okay.
Here's the problem with that, is the way that they have it coded. So killer, when you're playing killer, you are first person. When you're
Okay.
playing survivor, you are third person. If he is anywhere within your camera range, so you can be facing in the opposite direction
Okay.
and like looking behind you,
Yep.
You can
it
still-
breaks his power.
Yeah.
So he's effectively useless right now. And so people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And like Dead by Daylight kind of either goes with two extremes when they have their PTB. Either it's they release the PTB and exactly what's on their PTB goes out on launch, or they do their PTB and then something completely different that you didn't even see coming comes out on launch. And one of the things that happened with was they released a killer called Legion, and the changes that they made to him, in my opinion, like literally crippled the game.
Ooh.
Like people stopped playing, and I don't think, in my opinion, it's recovered since him. And they've even
Okay.
reworked that killer since then, because people hated him so much, because he was so like bad for the game.
What movie or other thing was Legion from?
Legion was a unique to the game killer.
Oh, okay.
His kind of theme was like the Purge kind of thing.
Okay.
But his special ability was he gets into this what they call a frenzied mode.
Okay.
And he can like sprint after survivors, and also like jump over pallets, which is something other killers can't do.
Okay.
And when he hits you, you go into this like wounded state. Now, wounded state has this like bar that ticks down, and if you don't heal yourself, then you drop.
Okay.
The problem with him was that in the original like PTB testing, when you started healing yourself, like where you stopped healing yourself if he was still chasing you would be saved. But they changed that so that it's not.
Oh.
And then people started kind of exploiting in such a way where it doesn't consider you in a chase with the killer if they're not looking at you. So what Legion players would do is they would hit you to get you into that wounded state, and then they would what's called moonwalking, but basically chasing after you but not looking at you, so your timer would continue to go down. Either that, or they
Okay.
would just kind of leave you for 2 seconds but still know where you are.
Yeah.
So you couldn't stop
So,
to
yeah.
heal because they would hit you if you stopped, but you
Right.
couldn't like keep going because you would just drop. So
Right.
people are like, I don't want to play this. Like, this isn't fun.
Right.
And so people just stopped playing the game altogether, or they would just disconnect from games. And like the whole purpose of the game is like you have 4 survivors that have to finish 5 generators. A survivor is not equivalent to the worth of getting 1 generator done. So if someone
Right.
DCs, like you're basically screwed.
Right.
It's just not gonna
It's
happen.
not, yeah.
So they eventually redid him, but like since then, like the game has just it's not stagnant. There are still players and there's still a really good community for
Yeah.
it, but like it basically crippled itself. And so to see like with Ghostface, and a lot of it is like coding issues, because they do really have spaghetti code. They're still kind of an indie company.
Yeah.
They have a lot of bug issues that happen with their game that they don't really acknowledge. One of the biggest ones right now is that sometimes for no reason at all you'll be loading into the game and it'll freeze, or just for no reason at all while you're in a game it'll kick you out.
Okay.
And they put like this kind of band-aid over it, that if it's one of those like freeze screens that happen, if there are not 4 people loading into the game, it'll return you to the menu screen.
Okay.
But like this bug happens probably at least 60% of the games. So like it's a good band-aid.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a good band-aid, but they need to address
then
the
the-
fact that it's happening and fix it, as opposed to just like, oh, we're going to return you to the home screen.
Yeah.
So it's not great, because you're seeing like Ghostface in right now, and he's not fun to play, and he's not fun to play against.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping they make changes to him before they release him, because like he's not fun.
Yeah.
But also like they have to be very careful, because if they have like another Legion, I really think it's gonna be the end of the game.
Ooh,
Like,
okay.
because they just have so many like things kind of like sinking ship, and they're just kind of piling these additional like bleh on top.
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't there some kind of other battle royale game where you had other teams and like you had to hunt a certain kind of monster or something like that? Like you could still fight against other people, but you had to get this monster and extract it.
That
Oh,
was it's Shadow
shit.
something. Is it Shadow Hunters?
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
it's like technically, yeah. No, that looked
Yeah.
amazing.
Is it out?
But
Oh, what?
I think it's
Ooh,
still
did it
in
come out?
beta.
I heard about it last year and saw like some
Yeah, I
beta
remember
games.
being
It's
like
like
last-
Shadow
yeah.
Hunter, and it has a very kind of deep south.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
'cause
feels
the-
to
yeah. Oh
it.
my gosh,
like
yes,
the
yes.
demo I saw had them like you were like in this like bog in
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Asian country or something.
And there
yeah.
are like these zombie kind of
Yes,
things that you deal
yeah.
with, but there's also like a boss.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
game looks super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, the last time I saw it anyway, they only had like 2 bosses though.
Ooh.
And so it wasn't like, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I fought these 2 bosses, I
Okay.
guess I'm
Done.
done.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know what they've done like since then. That was a while ago, but
Okay.
it also looked like they were struggling with some like graphic fidelity issues, like a lot of
Oh,
screen
okay.
tearing issues and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
which at the end of the day, I guess doesn't necessarily, like, depending on the person, affect gameplay that much.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool concept, and I think like battle royales are cool. I don't care that there are like 500 people making them. Battle royales are cool. They're a
Yeah.
cool concept, and I think like as everyone says, like good artists like whatever, but great artists steal.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like that ability to take an existing concept and expand on it in such a way
Or
that
make it
makes it
different.
new and
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
is like what is popular right now. And I think that game is like a really interesting concept, and I think plays into a lot of genres that like current battle royales don't, while still having another goal like outside of just being a battle royale.
Yeah.
That if they can kind of get their development in the right spot, I think it's going to be a really great game.
Yeah. Agreed.
I just talked for like 30 minutes.
That's all right.
I like 35.
Yeah,
But you're good.
whatever.
You're good.
Yeah. So I just finished Submerged,
Mhm.
which I thought was great. It's like I think I've talked about it a while ago. I've been playing it for a while. It's the one where like it takes place in the future, and like this city has been like mostly submerged in like this giant flood, and you arrive in this city on this little canoe with like your brother who's been injured, and you have to search the city for like supply drops to like give him medicine and
Right.
bandages and stuff like that.
Right.
So I just finished that. I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
And now I'm looking for like I think I told you guys like another 10-12 hour
Yeah.
indie game to play. And you mentioned like Layers
Layers
of Fear,
yeah,
too,
the
is
second
coming
one.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I think
they're
it's
coming
out
out.
already, actually.
Okay.
Um,
That or Distraint too. I gotta jump on that too.
so it's a survival game, so
Yeah.
it's not necessarily not Layers of Fear, different game.
Okay.
So but
What?
like probably doesn't quite have 10 to 12 hours of it yet. The Raft,
Wait, the Raft or Raft?
It might be one of
Oh,
the
there's
two,
two
but
sets.
it's
Oh my
like
God. Right?
the one that I'm talking about is you are on a raft and it's a survival
Yes.
game. You're like in the ocean.
It starts with like a little like 4x4.
Yeah, and you like.
Yeah, I love that game.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
They're still like very heavily in early development.
There's like nothing to do in it, but
Yeah.
I love it.
They're still very
Hold up,
like.
is that one the Neves played or some shit like
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
alright,
Yeah, they
alright,
played like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're adding a lot into it, which I think is neat. I haven't touched it since like a while back, like
Yeah.
before they have like goats now. Before they added goats
I'm
the last time I
sorry.
played.
Raft.
Yeah,
Goats on the.
yeah, on the raft.
Okay.
Honestly,
Do you
that
like fish them out of the ocean with the
me
hook?
and that shark,
Oh my
are
God.
gonna fucking go. I had like. In every game, you know, especially Survivor games, they have that, you know, the saddle point where like
Yeah.
the game is easy. So what I did is I set up my raft so that it had this long like T shape,
Okay.
and then I put those like nets
Okay.
on the T shape. So no matter what, as long as you're following the current, you're gonna pick up all the shit that like
Yep.
comes in
Yep.
in those nets, so that you didn't have to like sit there and. But then that fucking shark, man, that shark would destroy my nets, and I'm just like I would jump in the ocean and like beat his ass
Oh my
because I'm
goodness
like
gracious.
I worked hard on this T-shaped
Yeah,
raft,
yep.
like. But yeah, that's a good game. It's obviously kind of as far as you're willing to stretch a survival game.
Yeah.
And there's like the smallest bit of story in there right now about the whole like radio tower
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
It's not really anything that you could call a narrative at this point,
No.
but it
It's-
definitely feels like a labor of love, that game, with like the soundtrack and like the stuff that's in it so
Yeah.
far.
I'm playing Uncharted. Not a ton to say about it. It's exactly like other
Uncharted.
cover,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
other Uncharted take cover and shoot kind of games.
Yep. Are you on? Which one are you on? The first one?
I'm on the 4th one now.
Oh,
I haven't
okay. So
started
you're
it
almost
yet,
done.
but I finished the 3rd one. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm such a huge fan of those videos that are like no detection, like bow
Oh my God.
only,
Yeah.
like Uncharted videos. Those are so good. There's this one guy that I watched, and I feel like he's done an Uncharted video, but I don't remember specifically what he was talking about. He's called I don't remember what he's called, but he does specifically, it's like game design, it's like Game Designer's Toolkit or something.
Okay.
And he talks about like game design, and he talked about Uncharted once in like the concept of open worlds and how it like does open world really well. And like that whole concept of like giving the player kind of agency in how they play out like the different spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean?
Last one I tried was that terrible. What was it? Men with Beards at Sea, or what was the
Oh,
terrible
the, like,
game?
Sea of Thieves ripoff.
No, not Sea of Thieves. It was like dudes with beards,
Okay.
Yeah. It was like a Sea of
and it was like a
Thieves.
Flash-looking game, even though
Okay.
it was on PlayStation or something, or maybe on
Yeah.
computer.
Free? Was it free?
Should have been. I don't know how I got it. I get a lot of games. Like I have Fortnite. I have no recollection of buying it.
Well, technically
John
Fortnite,
just blacks out and buys games.
unless you have the like PvE version of Fortnite, like the actual game,
It should be
the
free,
battle
right?
royale is free.
No, not the Battle Royale. It's Fortnite.
Oh, you
With,
have
like
the
with the
you have the-
zombies.
Yeah, I never loaded it up or anything.
Oh my god.
I just had I played the beta when they were first testing it out, and it disappeared for years.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, look at that on PlayStation, Fortnite. And I was like, I don't
Honestly,
know.
like-
No one else I know has it, so I don't bother with it.
Yeah. Honestly, like I get that they like got really lucky with the fact that their battle royale
Yeah.
like took off, and it could use a little bit more tweaking. But I feel like the actual like game of Fortnite is so underappreciated.
I liked it.
Like, yeah, no, I think it's really
I
neat.
didn't even know
Is
it
it like a-
existed until
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it like a horde of like just like
So it's
zombies?
Yeah.
it's very kind of in the same vein of maybe like Destiny or Warframe, in that there are like levels and there's very specific things that you do on the levels.
Right.
Most of them are like fort defense kind of things.
Yeah, you fortify shit. Like,
yeah.
Whatever, right?
But like it's cool, and they have cool like creature design, and like they have the whole resource system where you have to like craft these things. So if you use a shit ton of bullets one mission, you're not gonna have them to like do the next
Oh,
one.
okay.
And then they have, you know, like your actual fort that you have to build. I feel like it's very underappreciated, and like
Do they have big bosses and shit like that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
So last Halloween, Fortnite did this thing on their battle royale. You good?
Okay.
Fortnite did this thing with their Battle Royale where they had, and I know that one of you was talking about it, that Black Ops Zombies did something very similar, or Battle Royale did something similar, where they had these sections where they had the zombies, and they dropped like loot. Battle Royale did that, but they had like the creatures from their like actual game. And like one thing that like people also, I don't know that they realize, or I think they'd have a lot more people buying their base game, is that so they have their like V-Bucks currency system that technically in the Battle Royale you have to pay for. You finish missions in the base game and they give you V-Bucks.
Oh.
Like they just give you
Yeah,
like
wow.
100 V-Bucks.
Okay.
And basically
Those
farm
V-Bucks
for V-Bucks.
in the-
Yeah, because it like travels. So
Wow.
They have it figured out. They know that if they give
Yeah.
you V-Bucks in the core version of the game, you'll pay for the actual game.
yeah.
And then you'll just use the V-Bucks.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, I feel like if people gave it a chance, it's an interesting game. I think it has like a good style. It is a little bit more of a grindy style game and like a repetitive game, but I feel like it falls under those like party games.
Yeah.
It's really fun to play with friends.
How many people
you
are in
know.
the squad? Is it like
4. It's 4. But it's like fun to play with friends, and like they have like, you know, like within each mission they have like the mini like kind of short-term goals that you can do,
Yeah.
like collect XYZ, or like you can only use this many parts to build your fort, and then you get extra points if you only
Right.
use that many parts and that kind of thing. So
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah, because I don't know anybody that.
Well, like I said, I
bought,
mean, I didn't even know it existed until like a while ago when someone mentioned, "Oh yeah, like Fortnite zombies." I was like, "Wait, there's zombies in Fortnite?" Like in the Battle Royale game, they're like, "Oh no, there's like a whole
There's a
other
whole nother-
Yeah.
like mode." And I was like, "That's just not free, so nobody plays it."
yeah.
Holy shit, I had no idea.
I went on this very
I swear.
big like tirade once because like people on the internet are very like cancel culture, and it's very like black and white.
Yeah,
And someone had started a conversation once about the whole kind of ethics of loot boxes,
yeah,
and they were citing Fortnite as one of theirs, like, this is a predatory kind of thing. Only the payable version of the game has loot boxes. Every other, like the free version, you buy the pass or you buy the skins. There's no like random chance in
Okay.
them. There's no loot blocks. And so I kind of got on like this horse that I was like, you should probably pick another game because you're saying this but you don't know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Because even like the loot boxes in the base game, like you get them for free from completing missions and you can't buy them with
Okay.
like money. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know that you should be
Yeah.
like talking about something you don't actually know
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
talking
It's not.
about.
It's not
No
predatory.
one on the internet would do
predatory
that.
in the way of like child gambling, where a lot
Yeah.
of like
Well, they-
Overwatch would kind of fit into that
Yeah.
child gambling
Yeah.
kind of rule.
Right.
Like Belgium got rid of that
Yeah.
completely. You can't have
Yeah.
loot boxes.
Yeah.
I think America just like proposed a law against that
Yeah.
same kind of thing,
hmm
but it's still kind of predatory just in the way of like, I know so many kids that have like taken their parents'
Yeah.
credit
Oh,
cards
And this
yeah.
is
Oh,
that
yeah.
person
to just
was
buy
like,
V-Bucks. It's not like
yeah.
random chance, but it was still like they stole their parents' credit cards to
Yeah.
buy like $60 worth of V-Bucks.
Do you guys notice? Like, I think I talked about this before, but do you guys notice how, like, you know, the game could be patchy, broken, or whatever,
Mhm.
but all of the online money
Oh, yeah.
shit that
Oh,
you guys,
of course.
it's seamless. It
Of
works
course.
Yeah.
perfectly.
Well, and part of that is probably because there's like a main frame or like a main kind of wireframe that exists for a system like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
There's not much room for deviation
Fair
for
enough.
like the
Fair enough.
transfer of money between.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are probably more regulations on that whole process of transferring money from one person to another
Yeah.
that make it
Yeah.
so that
That
it
make
has
it-
to be.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like going back to what I was saying, this like one post was like, my nephew like stole my aunt's credit card to buy loot boxes from Fortnite, and I was like, well, Fortnite doesn't have loot boxes that you can buy with money, so.
So he just stole regular
No, he
money.
didn't.
Yeah.
My cousin had to like work off a couple hours of money because he took his mom's credit
Yeah.
card. And
Yeah.
my-
Not
Well,
saying
the
it's
times
that
okay,
we are
but like.
in right now.
I know.
That
What would
is
you do?
crazy,
Well,
fam.
so my mom didn't let me play World of Warcraft. Like, I want to play World of Warcraft, but I feel like I've kind of passed that point where like I'm gonna be into it because it was very popular when
Yeah.
it was like.
Yeah.
Because she was at the time a child support or a CPS
Oh,
child
okay.
support
Oh,
services
yeah,
person.
yeah.
Sure.
That's
And
the-
she's like, there have been cases of people like getting their children taken away from them and shit because they've been so obsessed with World of Warcraft
Wow.
that they like haven't taken care of it. So they wouldn't let me play World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Wow.
So like that kind of like
Wow.
like
dude.
mentality and stuff. Like
Yeah.
like I am totally against like this idea. Like, loot boxes as a concept, I think is fine for me, but if you're going to have something in the loot box, I think there should also be an additional option that even if it's for more money, I should be able to purchase it straight out. Like the fact that it just exists within this like unknown like random chance thing is what's not okay for me. I think if they had an additional option where, hey, if you pay like maybe $2 extra more, you can just buy it straight out. Like that would be cool for me, because then you're taking the random chance out of it. But the fact that right now it's this like random chance thing, that's what's like not cool for me.
So, going back to what you had said earlier about the Legends joint where you spend like 30-something bucks.
Yeah. Well, because it's guaranteed. I'm going to pay my money and I'm gonna
okay.
There's no loot boxes. You're not rolling for some item.
Right.
You know what you're buying.
Yeah.
She usually comes from a place of heart. And I
Oh,
have
no,
no
of
idea.
course.
Okay,
It's at least fair in that like I'm paying for this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like I'm paying for the chance.
Because like if I try to
Yeah.
tell a wife like, yo, I just spent $30.
Well, and so when they have the events, they do event bags that like will do like, oh, you get like 3 random skins and blah blah blah. But they still have that skin like in their store that like, hey, if you want this skin specifically, you can just go in the store and you can buy it.
Okay. That's still, dude.
Completely off topic. Has nothing to do with what we've been talking about. But
Do it.
in Colorado, we don't have fireflies. So anytime I'm out here and I see fireflies, I'm like,
Dude, fireflies are so cool. Like,
I had never seen one up until I like started college.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I knew they existed, but I was like,
Yeah.
that's a firefly? That's incredible. It's like the most magical shit I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
I need to take y'all down to the beach. I think because normally they have somebody that like checks the card and stuff like that.
There's a card to get to the beach. It's not like anyone can
Is
just
that a
go.
real
You
beach?
can't
What
just
is
hold
the
up and be
deal?
Like, yeah, you
It's-
gotta have a.
You
gotta
swim
have
at that like a beach and everything?
Say what, fam?
I thought it was just a name. That's like a
No,
beach you
yeah,
swim at
yeah,
and like
yeah.
treat it as a beach?
How do you
Okay.
get like the card?
To the MPOA, to the Montclair Home Association bullshit, whatever.
It's
But-
really funny because my apartment has like a very small pool, but it's only open like during the summer. But they're like, come to the office to get your like pool pass. And so I was going there to like check something the other day, and they're like, oh, do you want to get your pool pass too? And I was like, yeah, sure. They hand me these 2 very like flimsy, you know, those like plastic bracelets.
Yep.
They're like, these are your pool passes. I'm like, I could literally buy
Right.
this online.
Yeah.
Like, please, how is this gonna
They
get me
put-
into the pool?
They have a picture of us and then it's like a sticker on it type of deal. But I promise you, they will not allow you to go down there with your driver's license that has your address to this house.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, you can't.
So to use that beach, you have to like live in the surrounding area.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's kind of
But-
nice though
but
for the like the
in a
people
se-
that live here.
But once it's in season, then it's nice because like the people that are there, you can only have a certain amount of people. Otherwise, it's
Like you know
anybody,
who
mama.
will be there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
So you're not
But
just getting everyone.
everybody
Like,
named
hey,
mama.
there's a lake nearby.
Right.
Let's
Right.
hit up this beach.
But now you got kids. It's like they know that they can like kind of like go in between the woods and joint and then swim out that way.
Well, I was
But-
about to say because
Okay.
they have the water gun fight, right? Like, how
Yeah.
did all those kids get down there?
Well, they were smart because the thing is, there are certain times that I'm sorry, we're going off on a whole completely different. They have a certain time that these guards or whatever are there. So the kids in high school knew that time. They knew that it was like, you know, like as long as we're there, like around
Someone lives in
12:30.
their neighborhood and they're like, hey everyone, if we
Dude,
come
but
at like
what-
midnight.
Okay, it sucked that whole system, but at the same time, what I kind of did is like they all combined as a community, and we're just like, hey, as high school kids, we all got together.
It would have been
Did
really
this-
cool if they hadn't
if
left
they-
the beer
if they-
bottles everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so like wholesome and like you know
Shit.
friendly
Until
until they're
there's
just
always-
trashing
there's always
people's
that
stuff.
line. Like,
Yeah.
up till here, this was great, and now you've crossed that line, and
because
it's not great anymore.
I was super salty, like, yo, I wanted to be in that
Yeah.
one, but then when I heard about like, yeah, they were throwing beer bottles or trash,
Yeah.
that come on, now, don't be stupid. But yeah, I'm gonna take you guys down.
Cool. Well, let's wrap this up so we can check it out.
Yeah.
So, we actually covered everything
Was that
on
3
the list.
hours?
Yeah, we're at like 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Wifey was just like, she was like,
Oh.
are you guys still gonna be talking?
How do I end this, Tyke? I always
Oh,
hate ending this.
Do we? I thought we just end this shit.
Follow our Patreon. Give us
Follow
some
our-
money.
Yeah.
Oh,
doesn't
please.
exist.
Was it like what do they always say? Give a thumbs up. It helps support.
Subscribe and like.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And
Donate
love
to the charities in the description.
Mm.
You do say that though.
I do say that.
Yeah.
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 I'll let you guys know what they are if you're cool with it. Because I let like some people are like, yeah, I don't want to get so.
No, that's fine.
Absolutely.
No, thank you all guys for coming to Tyke's house
Yeah, let's do this again.
and joining the discussion. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, listeners, for listening. If you liked it, donate to the charities in the description. Hopefully, we will see you guys all again. I'm mumbling.
It's okay.
Hopefully, you'll listen to us again next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll be on next week.
Hi, Mom. Love
Hi,
you.
Mom.
Hi, Mom.
My mom doesn't
Tyke's
listen to the
mom.
podcast.
Hi, Tyke's mom.
And we're out. Good night, everyone.